Greetings, fellow superhero enthusiasts. Wait, not superhero enthusiasts. No, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry, BlueDragonFive. Greetings, fellow superhero nerds and lovers alike. I'm so sorry, BlueDragonFive. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And with us, Jacob Gulliver from Super Academy.
Hi.
Woo!
Glad to be
here. Alright, guys, this has been a long time coming. Civil War came out like a week ago, which is, like 4 months in nerd time, so this is really far behind schedule right now. We need to do this. We need to get this out of the way. Alright, so Captain America, Civil War. Big movie, big event. Did not let us down like Batman vs. Superman did. Jacob, you haven't even seen Batman vs. Superman. Am I correct in that?
I did actually go see it.
You did? Okay.
I got a coupon when I bought The Flash on Blu-ray.
Oh, God.
Awesome.
To go see the movie for free, so I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And I was absolutely disappointed. You were spot on with that.
Oh, man.
I went with Ben and Kyle from Hot Chocolate Media as well.
Nice.
Man, we've spent hours talking about how much we hated that movie, and there's still more material in the chamber. So
yeah, I have to wonder if that's going to rear its head in a very, very awesome podcast.
Perhaps.
We'll see.
So we're here to talk about Civil War, but before we do that, speaking of awesome podcasts and awesome movies, Jacob Gulliver, I think you know of a podcast that combines awesome podcasting and awesome movies. What would that podcast be?
Don't hold out on us, man. Come on.
Yeah, that podcast is called The Movie Machine. It is produced by Hot Chocolate Media, which is the same company that did Super Academy and Fang and Talon. And the idea is that we get a group of 4 people together on a weekly basis, and we basically improv a movie really fast. One person writes, one person directs, one person produces, and one person is the moderator and decides whether or not the movie did any good. So we get a random suggestion and just kind of roll with it. Things get crazy. It's great if you're a film junkie like I am. I know you guys are film junkies too, so
oh yeah.
It tends to.
It's a way to get a fix, yeah.
It's a great way to think about how movies get made and all the goofy little steps that go into doing it. So yeah, I encourage you guys to
your
check it out.
latest episode, I believe, was the stand-up comedian shared cinematic universe, right?
Yeah. The prompt was something like serious comedy about a bounty hunter, and like it eventually became like this weird story about Michael Dorn becoming, as an ex-bounty hunter, becoming a stand-up comedian, and it slowly turned into an expanded universe with a bunch of comedians.
So transitioning, who was the Captain America of your stand-up comedian shared universe?
Oh, I don't know. Well,
you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm putting you on the spot. That's fine.
No, not a big
Maybe
deal.
Larry the Cable Guy. He seems pretty American.
I don't think we want that kind of representation for America.
Yeah. Fair enough. True.
Let's talk about an awesome representation of America. So
yes.
Guys, let's go round table, give our general thoughts. We'll start with the guest of honor, Jacob. What did you generally think of Captain America's Civil War?
I liked it. I would give it about a solid B in terms of overall moviness. I think there's a lot of, it's not best word choice, I suppose, but
it's all good.
it has a lot of positives. There's so many little moments that are just perfect and wonderful and beautiful. Structure wasn't perfect. There are a few things that I have a little qualm about, but overall, very enjoyable movie. Really good pick.
Okay, BlueDragonFive?
Yes, generally, believe me, I could praise this movie all day because again, Winter Soldier was my favorite Marvel movie. It's still, I still, after all this time, I still haven't processed how I feel about this one in comparison to Winter Soldier.
Like a week later, your brain is just over-fried.
I saw the movie again yesterday. I saw Civil War again yesterday. I'm still in love with it.
See, I saw it Thursday and then Friday, so I saw it 2 times in a row. So I'm not as fresh on it as you are probably, because those 2 screenings kind of just blend into each other right now. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All I can say, just kind of generally on it, again, I'm still processing how I would rank it amongst all the Marvel movies. I know it's in my top 5. I'm just not sure, like, if it eclipses how far in the top 5 it goes. Regardless, though, this movie was everything I hoped for and more. And I'm still, even you watch the second time, I'm still kind of. The first time I watched it, I told you that we did this on the first reactions. I was in disbelief over how great and wonderful it is, and I still am. You know, I do think it's a great Winter Soldier follow-up. This movie, I do. Some people are saying, it might have been. Might be more tailored to just kind of the Marvel Universe, more towards Avengers. That's fair, but I'm going to say I think it also is kind of a great sequel and follow-up and a third installment of the Captain America franchise. And basically, it's 8 years in the MCU paid off. That's what this movie is. It's 8 years paid off in kind of a great middle ground of our kind of Star Wars-esque trilogy, of our original Star Wars trilogy here. We got Avengers as A New Hope, we got this as Empire. Now, I'm not the first person to say this, I know it's been said many, many times, but, third one, probably Infinity War is probably going to be Return of the Jedi. Still pretty cool.
All right, yeah, I definitely, I lean more towards Jacob than I do towards Blue Dragon 5, where I like the movie a lot, for sure. There's definitely a lot of good things about it. Overall, especially kind of seeing a second time, there's some things that kind of held up better a second time, like the Zemo plot, I think definitely benefits a rewatch. But having said that, it's still kind of got that problem that Marvel can't seem to get away from, where comparing it to Deadpool, for example, Deadpool is such a good standalone movie and just standalone story and just satisfying, whereas this, it's almost like 2.5 hours of a TV show episode at this point. I mean, don't get me wrong, a very, very, very high budget, well-crafted, well-acted, well-directed TV show, but it's just, I don't know, it's weird. It's like Marvel's in this predicament where all their movies are starting to blend together, much like the comic books, and I feel like there's very much pros and cons to something like that happening. But, folks, we are at a point where, it's not going to be excused, like, at least one other Avenger is going to be in these crossover movies, in these solo movies. We're getting Tony Stark and Spider-Man. I mean, it just seems like we're just moving in this direction. So, overall, I'm excited about the direction, but at the same time, it makes me kind of caution just how good these standalone movies are going to be. So far, my favorite Marvel movie by a bullet, my favorite MCU movie, is definitely Guardians of the Galaxy, because Guardians of the Galaxy feels the most like a standalone, complete movie from beginning to end that you don't have to watch anything else to really appreciate. So that's my overall thoughts. I'm sorry, I kind of got a little long-winded with the whole state of the MCU at large, but... Okay, so speaking of Star Wars, Blue Dragon 5, do you want to give us kind of the opening crawl to this movie, kind of set the story in motion?
So essentially, folks, just kind of the premise kind of boiled down to 2 sentences, I guess. It's basically, the premise for this film was after all the damage and casualties caused in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the government wants more say in how the Avengers operate, which leads to a rift forming in the team, ushered in mainly big time by Bucky's resurgence, pitting Avenger versus Avenger in a civil war.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. Good job. Kind
of ends with civil war,
All right, folks. Now we'll get into what everyone's probably dying to hear us talk about. The new recruits, Spider-Man and Black Panther. So let's just go round table. Jacob, thoughts on Spider-Man?
Yeah, I think this incarnation of Spider-Man is quite good. I like the characterization. I like the little moments, the little bits of humor, and the way that he interacts with the other characters in sort of the awkward but still sarcastic and very lively way. I think that dynamic really works well. I feel like his plot was a little bit shoehorned in. There are a few moments where it was like, that's a little bit of a big leap for just to get this character in, but overall, yeah, I would say the characterization was great. The action scenes with him were very fun. Even just the scenes with him and Tony chatting were also good.
All right, Dragon.
Oh boy, this is a really good Spider-Man. Tom Holland did an excellent job in this movie. I'll tell you what I like. I like that just looking at the grand whole of what we've been presented with Spider-Man in the past and with this new one on the table. I think in the past, Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker, not the best. It wasn't the best Spider-Man. It wasn't as quippy and as kind of traditional as we like our Spider-Man. But Andrew Garfield, for my opinion, he had a pitch perfect Spider-Man, but his Peter Parker, it's doesn't really hold up as well on the rewatch. But I think this Spider-Man was a excellent blend of both of those. It's kind of it's a great Peter Parker and a great Spider-Man, but it's kind of presenting as stuff that how you can get more classic when we've seen the suit brought exactly from the page in 2 movies now. Mm-hmm. I mean, the suit looks great. They found a way of just combining 3 really great art styles, and it's an Alex Ross suit with kind of a John Romita style, based on a John Romita style with Steve Ditko eyes. It's blending all the really cool looks of Spider-Man, but at the same time, I love that behind the mask, this Peter Parker is really interesting. He's got I love that he's inventive. He's not a super genius, but he's very low tech. He's finding technology that's been outdated and abandoned. He's repurposing it, making web shooters, and he's just kind of also he's taking what he can get because they just play him as kind of a down on his luck kid from Queens, and that's how you play Spider-Man. He has the Queens accent, he has everything. It's Spider-Man brought to life on screen. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think it says a lot that this is really the first time we've seen any interpretation of Spider-Man. I mean, Dragon, correct me if I'm wrong, if we've seen, like, a voice actor do Spider-Man and have a Queens accent, but overall, I just think just having him be straight out of Queens, just have that thick accent that's really distinct, I think that's almost a game changer for the Spider-Man character in a way, the way he's depicted on screen. Also, just the way that the kid is, you can tell this kid is still in high school. Like, this isn't some 30-year-old Andrew Garfield doping around like some emo brat. This isn't Tobey Maguire. This is a kid, and I genuinely appreciate that because at the end of the day, Spider-Man, what makes Spider-Man so unique is just kind of his inexperience compared to the other Marvel heroes, and I think they illustrated that really well. And just as the kind of first coming out of Spider-Man into the MCU, I thought it was pretty much perfect. Just the interaction. I was always worried that when they introduced Spider-Man into the MCU that they weren't going to have any sort of storyline of him struggling with whether or not he wanted to join the Avengers, whether or not the Avengers wanted to take him in. And honestly, I think they set that up pretty well with what... Jacob, I do agree with you. It is a little shoehorned in there. I'm not going to argue with you there. I honestly don't think, given the circumstances, there was a real way they could have had Spider-Man in this movie and not made it feel shoehorned to a certain extent, just sure. given the fact that they got Spider-Man like just a few months before the production was about to wrap. Right. But having said that, I do think that just having Spider-Man involved in that airport fight and having him, I feel like that's going to fuel a lot of Spidey's story going forward. I feel like the Avengers are going to not know what to think of him. He's not going to know what to think of his involvement with it. I feel like the Tony Stark relationship is going to be a little bit more antagonistic than people are predicting in Homecoming. I think he might be a little bit resilient towards Tony Stark and not wanting Tony Stark to kind of basically overshadow him in a way. And I don't know. This is just baseless predictions, but my overall feelings for Spider-Man in the movie was I thought they captured him pretty much right on. I will agree that just, especially with the way that it's just all of a sudden like Tony's like, oh, I have an idea, and then we feel like a hot Aunt May, and so it's like, so, actually, but I think... What?
I actually have a theory of why it's not shoehorned in.
Okay, well, I do agree with Jacob that I do feel like it is a little, but like I said, given the circumstances, I think it worked out pretty damn good, and sure. I would say with the exception of maybe possibly Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2, this is the best Spidey performance we've ever had overall. It's too little, like the performance itself, we haven't seen enough to really say whether he's better than Tobey at his best, in my personal opinion, but I think he's got a lot of potential moving forward.
I would say it's definitely the best Spidey writing that we've had. Spider-Man 2 is quite good, but I think this writing is a little bit better. It's more natural. It feels very, very authentic. But I would love to hear Dragon's theory about how it's not shoehorned in. I'm very curious.
Challenge.
So I've been thinking about this, and let me throw this at you. I mean, something I really liked, especially on the rewatch. I think I kind of confirmed this for myself. So this is my take on it. So a lot of people have been theorizing, and they're always kind of questioning, well, why didn't Tony Stark go to any of our Netflix heroes? You know, why didn't he go to Daredevil? Or why didn't he go to Jessica Jones? She's in the phone book. You know, you hear that point brought up, and that's a fair point. But here's my theory on one, why he goes to Spider-Man of all people, and again, why so spur of the moment does he go to Spider-Man when they're kind of in the midst of, like, let's just use people we know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know during the airport scene, it's kind of the same argument for Ant-Man. Like, why is Ant-Man involved in the airport scene? Why do they call on Ant-Man?
I also have questions for Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye kind of shows up a little out of nowhere, but
my point is Ant-Man and Spider-Man are in the same boat in this case. I think Captain America needs kind of they both need the element of surprise. Tony Stark said, and so does Captain America. Captain America a little more strategic in that he wants someone who's like he's a newcomer, no one really knows what he is. I mean, again, we know Tony Stark doesn't even know who Scott Lang is. That's an advantage.
Do I know him?
Yeah, exactly. He was a guy who can shrink and do all these things, and no one would see him coming. We see Rhodey's reaction during that fight, and I think this is kind of Tony Stark's side of that, where he's figuring one, since he's been tailing a lot of people in the Marvel universe. Again, some people theorize he's also maybe could easily look up Jessica Jones or pick up a paper and say, "Oh my God, Devil of Hell's Kitchen."
Right.
Whether or not he could get them, because I don't think Daredevil would actually side with them, but that's not here and there. Point is, I think he sees a lot of himself in Spider-Man. I think that's why out of all of them he picks him out. And he's figuring, element of surprise, no one's going to see this kid coming. He's got some really useful powers, and I could just kind of maybe upgrade his tech, and I could definitely use him in this encounter. I mean, again, you see in the beginning of that fight, his main play is, okay, have Spider-Man webcap up and take his shield away right off that unexpected element, surprise, and you disarms him in many ways. Mm-hmm. So again, I think Spider-Man's also a strategic choice on Iron Man's side. And again, he sees a lot of himself. The whole great power, great responsibility philosophy really fits with Tony's arc in this movie. That like we have a moral responsibility. We got again, they don't say great power, great responsibility. Literally, they spell it out in every way. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying that's what they do.
I really like the way that Peter just kind of he brings up the Uncle Ben thing, but he doesn't explicitly say Uncle Ben, but we know as an audience what he's talking about.
Absolutely. Sure. And again, I think that the thing he tells it really just shows you, I can definitely mentor this kid. We got a lot in common. We want to help him, but we want to do it in the right way. And this kid doesn't know how to channel that, so I'm going to take him in.
Okay, while we're on the subject of Spider-Man, I just want to ask, what do you guys think of hot Aunt May?
I like Marissa Tomei. I mean, in general, I like Marissa Tomei, but, it's weird, isn't it? They keep doing this in the Ultimate comics and the Ultimate TV shows. They keep going for young Aunt May. Why?
Yep. I honestly think it's to keep it more realistic, to kind of she's supposed to be Peter's mother's sister, correct?
Yeah, I think it's it.
So I think having her be a frail 80-year-old woman wouldn't make, I don't know, just that's kind of my logic with it, what they're thinking.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm so attached. I think Rosemary Harris just played such a good version of the original 1960s version of Aunt May. Mm-hmm. So I'm having a hard time with it. I'm not saying Marissa Tomei didn't do a good job. It's just it's not meshing with my vision of the character.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't jump down her throat.
Hold on. Jacob's been trying to talk. I'm sorry, Jacob.
No, it's okay. Honestly, she only really had 30 seconds of screen time, so I'm loath to pass a judgment on that kind of short amount of screen time.
Exactly.
She did absolutely fine for the screen time she had. When we see Homecoming, then we'll figure out what what her performance is actually going to be, in my mind, anyway.
I've heard a lot of comparisons to Aunt Cass from Big Hero 6, actually.
It's not a bad comparison.
No, it's not.
Yeah. I'm saying we like Aunt Cass. I mean, it's not. Again, we have to see what she does with it. I mean, another actors I could think of maybe as traditional old Aunt May could do an excellent job. Because a lot of people are saying they're kind of shafting the older actresses that play Aunt May. I mean, if Helen Mirren could do an English accent, I think she'd be a great Aunt May.
She would be, but that's neither here nor there, though.
Yeah, exactly.
We could spend all day talking about hypothetical casting.
Certainly, so. But I'm saying, you're right. You're absolutely right, Jacob. We gotta give young Aunt May some time. Give hot Aunt May some time.
Okay. So do you guys want to transition to Black Panther?
Well, can I mention one thing? Because I love the gadgets as well. I mentioned something really clever and really awesome with the Spider-Man. I love that from the get-go. We do. If anyone's not crazy about him having the suit right off the bat, they have this really great little Easter egg in there where Tony Stark showing him the footage of him in his makeshift Spider-Man costume with a little sunglass material in there. And I love kind of the little explanations of. He made the web shooters himself, but also I love that he wears the kind of the traditional bug eyes as a way of filtering out a spider sense because he has super perception when that happens. I mean, that's really, he gets like sensory overload if he doesn't have those goggles on because it takes in so much. I mean, I love that excuse, and I love that being the reasoning for our awesome kind of classic comics eyes. Again, I'm kind of liking this Spider-Man is kind of the Marvel equivalent to Deadpool.
Oh God.
He's quippy. He's got the animatable eyes.
I mean, as if there's not enough comparisons between Spider-Man and Deadpool already.
Yes, but again, Deadpool did it first. He did the perfect on-screen thing first. With the moving eyes. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true. That's very true. Deadpool did get the moving eyes down. Okay. Jacob, anything else you want to say about Spidey?
Well, one little note that Ben Lifson mentioned to me that I just thought was so funny. He was saying like that when they first announced that the Spider-Man standalone movie was going to be called Homecoming, he was like, "Can you think of like a title that's a bigger fuck you to Sony than Homecoming?" So just on the nose and in their face. Oh man. That just made me so happy.
Actually, I know a more insulting title they could have used.
Yeah.
Down the drain.
God. No, I honestly think Homecoming is even more insulting. But the one thing I am very excited about for the title of Homecoming, I do agree it's a very dickish move by Marvel in certain ways. But
Marvel can be really malicious when you think of that. I mean, look at how they treated DC. They sandwiched them in the most impossible, saying we can do this infinitely better than you. And in Netflix and in the movie, both about kind of heroes at odds with each other. Mm-hmm. And again, they sandwiched it in such a cruel way of like, hey, first of all, we're going to get all the attention off of the movie. They're sure give them all the Affleck you want. That'll draw their attention. But we're going to seal them with probably the best comic movie this year, Civil War.
But the one thing I am really excited about the Homecoming title is I really want to see like a Halloween scene, like a Halloween dance, a costume dance or something like that. I think that would be amazing. But anyways. So let's transition to Black Panther then. Jacob, what do you think?
Black Panther is my absolute favorite part of this movie.
Nice.
I think the storytelling that we get a complete, full, amazing arc for him. The entire setup with him, with his father. We only see them on screen together for 2 or 3 minutes, but we already understand who these characters are. They, we agree on many things. We don't agree on everything, but I love you and I respect you, Dad, and I'm glad to be here with you on this momentous occasion. And then, oh crap, Dad goes down. We get, the moment with him on the bench where he's, deciding what do I do now? What does my life mean? Where do things go from here? We see his journey through anger and then eventually into, acceptance. We go through the entire journey of this character, and for somebody with maybe 20 to 30 minutes of screen time in the movie, I think he has the most complete arc out of any of the characters in the movie, because there's still unresolved information at the end for both Cap and Tony, but I think Black Panther completes his arc in this movie, and I'm absolutely excited beyond belief to see what happens from here.
Yeah, he essentially goes from just being a ruthless killing machine out to kill Bucky at all costs to, being the one to essentially protect Bucky. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you're right. That is quite a transition. Okay. Oh,
yeah. My God, Black Panther was so cool in this movie. Chadwick Boseman did such an excellent job. Mm-hmm. I tell you, though, again, just this respectful diplomat. He has a great little... I love his dynamic with Black Widow, by the way. I love their kind of thing in the arc. It's like they're chatting on the bench, and later on there's kind of that little bit of betrayal by Black Widow. But again, you get a sense it's all cool on some level because she mentioned, oh look, I told you I'd help you find him and say catch him. I'm sure it's going to make him peeve for a while, but in the grand scheme, he ends on Cap's side, so I'm sure he's going to be a little forgiving there. Point is, Black Panther seems like such a well-rounded, smart character. I mean, not only he's not completely sold on Bucky's explanation during the fight, but again, it's understandable scrutiny there because the guy's mind's a little all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But oh boy, I mean, I tell you, this disrespectful diplomat, kind of driven by vengeance and honoring his father. Again, you got to remember the position of the Black Panther is a position of honor in the Wakandan cultures. I mean, it's a very respect. Again, he's the Captain America of Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
And with that too, I love that he is such. I love that they play him like the Winter Soldier of this movie, where he is, the unstoppable element of the film, and it plays well because not for a moment do you think, oh my God, is the only. Even when the Winter Soldier is actually back to being the Winter Soldier, the killing machine, Black Panther still holds his own out of the costume. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
totally,
just,
totally.
he's just this unstoppable and unexpected player. Again, I mean, Tony Stark does have a little bit of element of surprise on his side with, like, no one sees this, how powerful this guy is coming at it right at the beginning of the movie. It's like, we're in Wakanda, and, like, they're Cap and Bucky are on the run. Oh, my God. Who's this guy? You like cats? Who is this guy? I mean, you have this almost unstoppable warrior in a unbreakable vibranium suit. I mean, oh my God, Black Panther. He's the Fonzie of this movie. He's Wakandan Fonzie. He is.
He also has my favorite line in the movie. I think he's talking with Clint in that big fight scene. Clint's like, "I don't think we've met," and it's like, "I'm Clint." He's, "I don't care." Snap shut back, and I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
That's just so great because, I think that was a big problem with Age of Ultron. I mean, don't get me wrong, Age of Ultron was a fine movie, but it definitely had a lot of moments where it's like, oh, I'm quipping to you in the middle of an intense battle. And
he represented how I was feeling at the moment, which was,
exactly.
Okay, there's maybe been a few too many little quippy lines in there.
Just pay attention to the fight at hand, all right?
Yeah.
All right? This isn't Last Comic Standing.
Remember, they gave Hawkeye kind of an Indiana Jones moment too, where he then turned the bow and arrow. He turned the bow into like a giant staff, like he's about to, he's turning the thing and everything, kind of like a Darth Maul meets Indiana Jones thing. It's like, okay, my name's Groot. What's yours? I don't care. Just like, you do your impressive thing. I'm Black Panther. You're not gonna stop me. Come on.
Oh God.
But just so cool. It's one of the best elements ever. I think everyone has just kind of unanimously said he's probably the best character in the movie. While people are still loving Spider-Man, I think Black Panther he was undeniable.
I think Spider-Man is like the funnest character in the movie. He is definitely the most well-rounded character in the movie, I would say.
Yeah, and let's see. I think there's it's kind of interesting. We already have so far in the Marvel Cinematic Universe we have 4 Black Panther characters. So we got him, we got Ross, not General Ross, the other Ross. I don't know why I wonder if they were going to address that, if they're related or something. The Martin Freeman Ross.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's actually kind of Black Panther's sidekick in the comics. So I hopefully see him come back in the Black Panther
That'd be
movie.
great. We should talk about him a little bit because he didn't have much to do, but I love how he kind of tried to carry himself like a badass in all his scenes.
Well, I shouldn't say sidekick. I mean, he's one of his supporting characters. Like, I don't know anything about the guy. I don't want to say Jim Gordon right off the bat, but he's kind of like
you always want to say Jim Gordon right off the bat.
You know what I mean. He's
just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, he's the official. He's the guy in the suit that helps him out.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyways, also we have our big Black Panther villain who's been established in Age of Ultron. We had Ulysses Claw.
Oh yeah, and that is still, by the way, like the best moment in Ultron, where Ultron rips out the arm.
Yes.
I've given Ultron a lot of crap, but that moment was genuinely just inspired.
I'm 100% with you, Tiki. That is my favorite part of that movie. Just when James Spader as Ultron's apologizing. That's bad.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry.
Yes. Oh god, the apology's great. Point is, that guy. I love that they also mentioned that too. Of like, Ulysses Claw. You have someone who stole vibranium. That vibranium was used to. No, they don't say it by name, but they say all this vibranium was stolen to make a killing machine. Yeah. And also we have T'Challa's bodyguard in this movie. I forget her name, but the bald Wakandan woman who's his bodyguard. Who, again, there's a great reference for Black Panther fans, where because I think people who know who she is like, oh my god, you don't want to mess with this woman. She's like a big warrior, kind of like if it's kind of like Black Panther's own Howling Commandos, essentially. That's what she is. She's like Dum Dum Dugan of his Howling Commandos. So, like when she tells Black Widow to move, he says, as entertaining as that would be, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Anyway, so
And
Black
also,
Panther.
Lupita Nyong'o just got cast in the Solo movie. I think that's really exciting.
Wait,
Nice.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
You think she might? Who do you think she might be?
They're
yeah,
saying
right.
she's going to be the love interest, but that's just kind of the report right now. I don't really know much about the Black Panther side characters.
Yeah, neither do I. I just know those two because they're in the movie.
Well, in
But
the comics,
seriously,
she's-
Lupita Nyong'o is like Disney's golden child right now.
The only thing I've read of Black Panther, it's been a while, so I'm not too fresh on it, is the John Romita drawn one, the John Romita one.
You know,
which
I
is
actually
really-
did see the animated like Avengers Black Panther thing they did.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I've seen of Black Panther before this.
in the comics,
so-
Black Panther is married to Storm, which
Yes.
is obviously not going to happen.
No.
unless they make it someone who has identical powers as Storm.
I mean,
but
don't
they
get me
can't
wrong.
call
I
him-
would love Lupita
This
Nyong'o as Storm would be great. That'd be badass casting. But
Yeah.
This is Whirlwind, and she can control weather.
oh god.
and she was an Iron Man villain at one point.
Yeah. I was just trying to come up with another weather-based name.
Yeah.
How hilarious would that be, though? Oh, yes, in my past I went up against Tony Stark using his weapons technology as my source of power. 'Cause
Okay,
I'm not
so-
a mutant, remember?
So really quick with Black Panther on my end, yeah, I generally agree with you guys. I think the fun thing about him is just that he's so serious and he's so non-jokey like the other Avengers are at this point. And it's kind of like the new guy at work who comes into an office environment and there's already like all these like in jokes and stuff, and then he's like the awkward like odd man out who's not like privy to like the office lingo. But Jacob, you did mention I did really like the connection with his father. I thought that was a good motivation for him. Having said that, holy crap, this must be the quickest Marvel has ever killed off like an Uncle Ben figure in any Marvel movie.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
It's like he's there and dead. It's like,
But
okay.
again, that scene was so well acted, they sold you on him.
It
right
is.
off
No,
the bat.
don't get me
They're
wrong.
getting
It's a
back to
very, very good scene, but I was caught off guard. I was like, oh my god, that was quick.
I think the record
I
used to
really
be...
knew where this was going because it's Marvel. You know, it's like Marvel's got a formula for this kind of thing.
Yeah, the record used to be Dr. Erskine from Captain America. Remember, they die by the end of the first act, usually.
Right. But this guy, he dies like practically by the end of his first scene.
Yes!
Oh god.
I mean, technically, he is, and he's on the TV in one scene. That's pretty much it. That's all he gets. But let me mention one thing: is that what I do know about Black Panther from that comic that Tiki and I both mentioned. That I was really happy to kind of see referenced in this movie, but at the same time, it's something with Black Panther, the character I've seen in the animation. Also, I was really happy to see in this movie. I always loved the relationship he has with Captain America. The first encounter, they always have that fight because the vibranium shield meets the culture where the vibranium came from. That's the gag. And like way back in that comic, it starts off awesome. Like the original. I think that the original Black Panther, because remember, it's a mantle that gets passed down.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 40s, Captain America with his old school shield, they had their fight, and Captain America's like, oh my, he's trying to be peaceful, but he's an outsider coming into the land. They had their fight, and then eventually become the closest of friends. And kind of you had that loosely in the movie. It's like in the beginning they have their encounter. He scratches the shield, which is still there by the end because it's vibrating.
Oh yeah, I love how all the damage in this movie carries throughout the whole movie. All the costumes. That's so great.
And by the end, there's this really sweet scene of this. I gotta tell you, I think out of all the kind of mid-credit sequences, this movie has, like, in my opinion, the best.
The mid-credits?
Yeah, mid-credits.
I'd have to go through and think of all of them. And
I think this mid-credits had kind of an emotional thing. That's why, because I thought there's really kind of a downbeat, but also.
You're talking about the bit where they're repairing Bucky's arm.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I think there's a good emotional beat in that, but also there's kind of a good hopeful beat at the end of that too.
Well, it was what Jacob was talking about. It really does bring his storyline full circle. I mean, without that scene, we don't really have him coming to terms with Bucky and like, hey, look, I'm gonna help you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And my only gripe, again, because I love this movie so much. Bear in mind, with Winter Soldier, is that. I wish they'd really switched their post-credit scenes up because again, the ending was the important one of Bucky learning who he is, which is in this movie. Of him, he went to a museum.
I love the Spider-Man one though. I actually think the Spider-Man one is appropriate for an end credit scene.
Well, yeah. I mean, this one's fine. I'm talking about Winter Soldier though.
Oh, okay. I hear you.
Yeah, because again, and they reference that in this movie of like, at the beginning there with Bucky's mental state. He had his various. Well, let's save it for the next segment. Sorry.
Okay, can we just really quickly talk about the Spidey post credits because we kind of glazed over that?
Oh, sure.
I love the idea of him kind of like making up the story to Aunt May. I got in a fight with a really mean kid from school. His name's Steve. He's from Brooklyn. Oh, well, maybe we should call the school and have a talk with Steve's parents.
No, you never met him. No, it's.
Oh God, seriously, that like what a way to end the movie on just a great note of like light classic Spider-Man comedy.
And also, like mentioning he was done by a real. I got this hit from a real big guy. He was you. You should have seen him.
I just love how he's trying to downplay Captain America
and Giant,
like a school bully.
But also Giant Man too. So you should have seen the guy. It was huge.
Oh God, right. Oh man, good stuff. Okay, so I believe we're done with Black Panther, right?
Yeah, believe me, I looked up at Black Panther more. I don't think we have the time.
All right. So let's transition into something that we'll probably also want to talk about more than we have time for. Cap and Bucky.
This. Oh my God, this. Again, this is primarily the whole thing with Cap and Bucky was really kind of the sequel territory of Winter Soldier, which I thought was at the heart of this movie. So anyone who says it's more Avengers, it's more Avengers 2.5 or just Civil War itself.
I definitely think this is a Captain America movie, but having said that, I also think this is the best team-up movie that Marvel's ever done. I think this movie is better than the Avengers or Age of Ultron, honestly.
Yeah. Anyways, I love that it's just picking up my favorite element of Winter Soldier was kind of just that the ending of Captain America always gets me. It was, the bond between those two guys here, and that it really transferred in this movie. Like their first real interaction together is really great. Just Steve, this Captain America finding Bucky, and he was talking to him, and Bucky again following the end of Winter Soldier. Again, the really should be mid-credit scene ending. Where he's learning about himself. Where he learned, he knows Steve, and he knows like basically the museum facts. He's trying to rebuild his life, and Bucky's he's trying to live a peaceful existence, trying to find out who he is here. And Cap's going out his way, he's breaking the law to save his friend because he knows, again, it's been really well set up that they're going to kill his friend because their orders are to shoot first, ask questions later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Cap doing all this, and again without hesitation, as Falcon's like on the line, they're telling him, okay, listen, at 5 seconds before they burst in, they're on the way to stairs, and just Cap he's not relenting, he's not getting out of there. He's trying to reach Bucky, make sure he's on his side there. It's a great team up from that point forward. It's you have this buddy movie in the midst of that. Not actually they're enemies at first. We kind of had that in Winter Soldier, but seriously, I really love the heart of this. They really pay off a lot of the Winter Soldier stuff in this movie in their arc. Like there's this fantastic bit after the great helicopter shot, which literally it's not just a helicopter shot, folks. Actually, it's a shot with a helicopter. Where it is that awesome thing where again I kind of wish this was out of the trailers, just given how awesome this moment was.
What, the whole thing where your mom's name was Sarah?
No. I'm talking about when he's holding the helicopter.
Right. I honestly think that whole thing should have been out of the trailers because that was like a huge emotional moment in the movie.
The Sarah thing?
Yeah, and that was kind of what they led with in all the marketing, and I don't know. That kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
Didn't ruin it or anything. I'm just saying.
But I mean, I love all the little subtle parallels to Winter Soldier 2, like when we're going down the water and then just kind of repay Bucky's kindness. He swam that he saved Bucky. How nice is that?
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying the movie's chock full of those moments, and it really shows you you see absolutely why he would go to Civil War against the Marvel Universe to save his friend here, because again he knows at his core. Again, you saw in the beginning there. Bucky's good. He's innocent. He's an innocent in all this. And again, the way things are going, he could be framed, and people are going to give him a second look if Cap doesn't stand up for his friend, stand up for what he believes in.
Right. Okay. Jacob, do you have anything about Cap, Bucky?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the overall arc was basically carryover from Winter Soldier, which is, you've mentioned that already, and both of you have. I wish there was more of a character journey for both these characters, because they both basically start in the place that they end in the movie. They don't really grow and change a whole lot during the course of the movie. That said, I think their relationship is like a really important one. It's a strong dynamic that really drives the conflict. Cap is just blinded by his sense of friendship and loyalty to his friend, and that's important. You should be loyal and you should be connected to your friends, but he definitely lets him get away with a bunch of stupid crap because they're friends and because he's loyal to him. I kind of wish that at some point, Steve had just snapped, and said, like, I'm trying to help you. Please do something that's going to be something so that they know you're not this terrible person. Please. And I kept waiting for that moment to happen, and it just never did.
We had a funny moment, though, in the stairwell fight where he just says, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that's kind of like I like the jokey, but I think Marvel for the most part did a great job of balancing out the jokey. But no, I will agree with Jacob here. This is one thing where I honestly think, oddly enough, I think Bucky was played for laughs more than he probably should have. Jacob, would you agree with that?
In some ways, yes and no. I mean, you can't have a character that's just 100% dark the entire time.
Sure.
It doesn't work that way, but I think. Like I said, I just wish there had been more growth for the two of them in terms of finding, as new pieces of information was revealed, finding a different reaction than the same one they've been, hitting. And the performances were wonderful. The individual little moments were wonderful. I just wish there was more of a journey for the two to go on together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, what I loved is that I love how Bucky. With the tragic loss, and now unfortunately a little more represented in the TV show. Unfortunately, Peggy Carter dies, and it's really sad.
Oh, it hit me so hard.
It did. Well, I'm with you there.
A lot harder than I expected it to.
I tell you, the shot that gets me, again, it's like these little niceties that are in the movie always kind of, oh my god, it's so nice and so heartbreakingly tragic. It's when Falcon is at the funeral with Cap. They go through all that stuff, and we're sort of the palace. He's there in this really painful moment for Steve. And then Black Widow's there also. All these people have this great stuff in Winter Soldier. I mean, it's connecting there. We had that scene with Peggy at the beginning of that movie. Anyway, I love that. Again, Sharon Carter there also. All the important people there in both Steve and Peggy's life. Mm-hmm. And I just love that after she gives that funeral, sorry. She gives that speech. Sharon Carter gives that speech about seeing Agent Carter helps the enjoyment of this a lot more because we've seen exactly what she's gone through in the speech.
Yeah, we're all Agent Carter fans, and we're all kind of mourning the loss of Agent Carter, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, in both fiction and reality, we've kind of lost.
Right. It's like a double whammy. It's like, you're not going to get to see her anymore in the MCU or in the TV universe.
But hey, let's hope for Netflix.
Screw Peggy Carter fans.
But let's hope for the beauty of Netflix.
Just a little aside for a moment. I had this idea the other day. I've always wanted to do like a Halloween thing for Super Academy, and we kind of got to like the party episode with Starburst at Starburst Place,
right,
in there. But if I ever get to do like a Halloween-y thing, I think I'm gonna have Glyph dress as Agent Carter and Corona dress as Edwin Jarvis. I think that would be just like the funniest thing to watch.
Oh my god.
Be hysterical.
And that would be a nice shout out to the few people that actually love Agent Carter. Hell sure. Yeah.
I've got a bunch of friends.
Because Glyph would watch that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god.
Anyway, so what I'm saying is, that speech is like about Peggy Carter essentially not surrendering, not kind of giving up her principles, or else she would have been written off. Again, I love that. That's reaffirming Cap's stance on the matter, which is, again, you see Cap is in kind of he's in a vulnerable place early in the movie. This is why he's kind of making not so diplomatic decisions there. It's why he's just kind of going without telling anyone he's gonna save Bucky. It's why he's doing these things, because again he's lost a huge element of who he was. And again, this has been a building arc in all the Captain America movies. That Cap in modern day, following the first movie, he's been losing his world progressively. There's been a sadness growing with Captain America, especially in Age of Ultron, when he realized what the guy that went in the ice, what he wanted. I don't know if that's what I want anymore. And there's that beautiful moment where, again, I love the subtle Captain America stuff in Age of Ultron so much. Like when he's outside the house, you hear like the family and the kids, they're cheering, but he has that moment of hesitation before he walks in there. There's that sadness with Captain America. I think this movie is expanding upon. Just that he can't get the old world back. He lost someone who meant a lot to him, but still she offers him a big piece of wisdom in her passing. And it's just kind of reaffirming, no, I can't. I can't let anything bad happen to Bucky. It's also putting him in kind of again that vulnerable place of if I lose Bucky, then I've absolutely lost every connection I had to my old world. I mean, I know he's good, I know it, but no one's going to believe it. If it were me in this situation, I know he'd do it. I know he'd do the same for me.
Yeah.
Okay, Dragon, can I just kind of jump in and give my thoughts on Bucky?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Yeah, overall, I definitely think that this was... I think moral ambiguity and like morally gray areas is what this movie thrived in. And this is definitely the most morally gray and morally ambiguous I've ever seen Captain America be. Granted, I haven't read most of the comic and anything like that, so I really have no reference point between that and this. Having said that, I just think some scenes are flat out chilling of Captain America just straight up like, look, I am going to go out of my way. I am a criminal now for Bucky, and I am just basically betraying this whole America thing, this whole government thing for my friend. And I think it's such a powerful thing to see. And again, I'm sorry, I have to go back to Batman versus Superman. Batman versus Superman did such a shitty job of establishing Superman as like a guy who's like, oh, I'm conflicted and nobody loves me and boo-hoo. And meanwhile, then we have Captain America, and Captain America here is just a million times better than that Superman. He is a guy. At the end of the day, despite the super soldier thing, despite being frozen for 70 years, he is a guy with complex morals and complex decisions. And I think that's what the writing absolutely nailed. Jacob, I'll agree with you, though. I do think that Bucky was a little too one-dimensional in this movie. I wish we would have seen a little bit more of his dynamic. And like I said, I still kind of stand with, I think, maybe Bucky had one or two. I mean, I understand you don't want to just see him be just this brooding, like, dark figure the whole time, like he was in Winter Soldier. And I understand lightening him up. I don't know. I just thought, like, there was maybe one or two moments where it was just like, oh, ha, 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 Bucky doesn't fit in, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
Let me kind of point out something with it's kind of dawned to me. I just want to point
Yeah,
out.
but really quick.
Yeah, no, it's the last thing I got on this one. So, what I really, again, with that moment where Cap fishes him out of the water, I love that. Following that, that's because before it was just Bucky kind of knowing the facts but not knowing he doesn't have his memories back. But after that happens, after essentially, I could assume maybe a near-death experience, probably lost consciousness, maybe he's in the water, could have, some stuff could have happened. But when he comes out of that, then he has his memories back. So he says, your mother's name was Sarah, and you put newspapers in your shoe. That's Bucky. He's back. But again, I love that our element of skepticism, rightfully so, is Falcon. Again, this guy tried to kill us for a whole movie. I mean, I think we shouldn't assume everything's all better now. And again, just
I think one of Steve's best lines to Bucky is, "What Bucky am I talking to right now?"
That's what I'm saying. So now he has his friend back, but again, now there's all the skepticism there. Like, I got to make sure it's you, Buck. I want to believe me. I've gone on my way for you so far. I'm still willing to do that, but you just got to give me some information so I can. Again, Jacob, I think that's kind of your show me that you're good moment. I don't know. I think it's in there in places, but it's lighter than I think you're hoping it's going to be. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's transfer over to Tony's side of things with the Accords. What gets Tony to kind of join the Civil War? So, if I may go first on this, I think Robert Downey Jr., he's been terrific throughout all the Iron Man movies and throughout all the Avenger movies. I mean, I do think some people have kind of criticized him of kind of just going into this autopilot mode where he's just kind of sleeping through the thing, but Age of Ultron, I'd have to rewatch Age of Ultron to attest that. Having said that, I think this is probably his best performance as Tony Stark. This is the closest thing we've gotten into just a world-weary, depressed, absolutely, like, at the bottom of the barrel Tony Stark. And I think it's just absolutely, like I said, much like Steve Rogers kind of betraying everyone, it's haunting to see Tony like this. The first time we see Tony in the movie, he's got, like, those bags under his eyes. He's just... I mean, granted, it's not the first time we see him. The first time we see him is that weird holograph technology, which I'm kind of mixed on. But you know what I mean.
It looks good enough. It looks good enough. It's not as impressive.
It's fine. I have no problem with it. But But I'm talking about the first time that he meets Cap in the movie, like where they're all kind of getting together for the meeting. I mean, he just looks so world weary, just right from the jump in the story, and it just only gets worse from there. Dragon, you want to touch on some stuff?
Yeah, sure. Let me say this again with the world weary Tony Stark. I mean, I love that Tony Stark he's made so many mistakes. And he's always kind of trying to fix his mistakes in the. That's a big part of his character right from the first Iron Man. His weapons are getting out there, and they mention that in this movie. It's like the instant my weapons got out there, I took charge. I was fully accountable for that. And again, he's now kind of realizing in the wake of everything. That's why he's kind of going to college. That's why he's trying to atone for all the chaos he inadvertently caused with Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a cost, and he's now realized, look, even with the Avengers, everything, opening wormhole, all the stuff that's we got to take responsibility for that. It's all on us. And again, it's some people have said that you can see kind of his. It's been said before. I believe Captain Logan made this reference that like his by the end symbolically his heart's just not in it anymore. That you see so.
Oh yeah.
So the movies have taken such a toll on him that not the character. Movies have taken such a toll on him that
I think the actor's just fine.
Yeah. Again, look. Age of Ultron does have great moments with Tony Stark, and you get to see like him really at the beginning there, where he sees his friends dead.
I think Age of Ultron is kind of like gleeful Tony Stark in a way, because we get it's Tony Stark being like a little kid and playing with technology and stuff. You know what I mean? Because we get that. One of my favorite Tony Stark bits is right at the beginning, and this is still one of my favorite bits from Ultron. The whole like, oh, please be a secret door, please be a secret door, please be a secret door, yay, yay. All right, I'm sorry, Dre. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, I mean, I love that they make all these. There's like a little reference in the. Again, I like that Tony's kind of confronted right off the bat by the whole by Miss Sharp, and this is the stuff they pulled from the book. I like how they are kind of pulling certain segments from the book, and they're adapting it, but much better in this film. It's kind of epitomizing kind of like they're like all the stuff that's big. It's kind of it could have been written off of just okay. So we've seen. We've seen Avengers, we've seen Age of Ultron, so we know people are probably dead, but we didn't explicitly see that. So we have something that just we see cleverly through video footage of people videotaping this stuff, and they're being crushed as they're videotaping it. Really dark, really tragic. Again, as we have the heroic kind of Hulk save, or we have just kind of Hulk jumping on the building, we have debris crushing people in Sokovia, buildings falling on people. Winter Soldier, we have this the helicarrier coming down. A lot of casualties, and I love that one of the casualties from that helicarrier coming down is worked into is in a way adapting our Civil War story, where we had this great bit. We had Crossbones. Crossbones, he comes back and he's really cool looking. He's fully formed. Unfortunately, he doesn't make it in this film, but.
But you know what? Like when I was watching Winter Soldier, the whole time I was watching Winter Soldier, I was like, this mother effer needs to die. This guy is like a cockroach. And so, I think it is kind of satisfying from a storytelling perspective to have him be killed off at the first scene of the next movie. Because seriously, he was a cockroach in the last movie. He really was. There were so many times where he could have died, but he got out of it.
Yeah.
Really? I don't know. He only got thrown up to the elevator, and then he's...
I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it, but I just remember certain situations where I'm just like, oh my god, this guy he's like the Terminator. He just keeps going and going. Oh my god, he's like the Energizer Bunny of Doom.
But I love that. Again, I love how they did kind of liberally take things from the book, and they used Crossbones in a really good way at the beginning of this movie. Because you had me really paranoid in the beginning there, because you heard people.
I know. I'm so sorry about that.
Because I really did like how they kind of made him Nitro in the book. I believe the New Warriors. This basically a group of superheroes, young superheroes, have a reality show, which is really reckless in putting people in the field while they're doing this, and they fight a bunch of bad guys, and one of them is Nitro, who is a mutant who has the ability to blow up, which blows up a small town, including a school district, which is not good. And here they kind of had a similar thing where Crossbones has a vendetta purely based on Captain America and that building that dropped on him. Again, not exactly Cap's fault, but he blames someone. But
I was just gonna say, I wish that the plot with him trying to steal like the doomsday virus or whatever it was that he was trying to steal. I wish that had had some kind of relevance on the other plots within the movie.
I think it's mainly just bait because he's trying to get Captain America to follow him.
Right, but I'm wondering what his motivations were in other than because he can just go find Cap. That's not hard. He doesn't need to travel to Africa to find Cap.
Well, I think he also needs to make a living too. He's kind of a terrorist. I don't know. I think it's just he says it's been a string of jobs. I'll admit it's just guesswork on my part.
Sure. Yeah.
I could have used more crossbones. I'm all for that, but it's like a revenge plot. He wants to get him into a popular area so you can just kind of cause Cap as much pain and misery before.
I think him being throughout the whole movie would have just kind of muddled things up. I think it was a smart move to kind of have him have him show up. He was a major focus in Winter Soldier, but give him the climactic death that he should have gotten in Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great that he did. Again, I only cockroach, but I'm really seeing Tiki. It's just how he survived the building fall. That's all I'm really seeing there.
Well, I still need to rewatch Winter Soldier. But yes, the building fall was a big deal to me. But anyways.
Regardless, though, I love that they kind of used him as the kind of the big kind of inciting incident that kind of definitely gives the Accords more attention, like the most recent occurrence. It kind of again sums up what they're going for with the Accords. Like there's a lot in the middle of saving people. Again, Scarlet Witch, she lifted him up into the air and then he blew up. It was an unexpected explosion there, which killed a lot of people in a building. There's that great, sad, shocking moment of Captain America calling in for reinforcements, as they call them the paramedics and everything.
How great is that moment? That moment is just totally calls back to real world in an awesome way.
Again,
it's oh man, okay, this shit has consequences.
So I can circle back into Tony Stark here. What I love is that they're. With that moment, you have it's now put into perspective right before we see all the video footage that we get shown. Is that, oh my God, there is a cost. In the midst of saving a whole lot of people, which is what the Avengers do, which is what they did in the first movie, there are a share of people who are going to get injured, and in this case, by the hands of Wanda. Mm-hmm. She lifted him into the air and they blew up. Again, I like if you're gonna kill off at least this is the first time they've killed off a Marvel villain, but with good purpose. If you're gonna kill him off, they at least made him a big deal from the book.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big deal in the book if you had that inciting kind of.
Poor Marvel villains.
The point is, I like how they kind of liberally took stuff like that, and the whole thing of the Accords, it is still kind of in a similar vein of they want you to register under the government so you can be monitored, and so you can be told go to this area, don't go to this area because you might not be in the interest of the country. Basically, a lot of political red tape. Mm-hmm. And again, Tiki and I, when we were hyping this up and kind of predicting stuff, we kind of called two things. Again, it's not much to call. It's just it's pretty obvious, I guess, but. I kind of call what Cap's stance in this matter is going to be that they're going to have bosses telling them they can or cannot go to help people when they could or they want to, or which could be very detrimental to them kind of saving people. And Iron Man on the other side though, he says look guys, we definitely need to be 100% accountable for this stuff. Yeah, sure, well, whatever it takes. Look at this another bit they adapted from the book really really well. They didn't do the whole thing she spits in his face, but that's probably for the best. Where Miss Sharp.
Could have gotten away with that.
This poor woman, Miss Sharp, her kid. Oh my God, I love Robert Downey. Just show you how great Robert Downey Jr.'s performance is when he goes into the whole thing about what the kid was doing missionary work in Sokovia. As he was helping housing. He could have gone anywhere like Vegas or anywhere. No, he wanted to do something nice, and he got killed by us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm saying it's always a personal thing with Tony Stark when you have just someone coming to him and just saying, "This is your fault, Tony."
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to get to the ending to talk about my favorite moment with Tony, but suffice to say, I think Robert Downey Jr. just, oh my God, in this moment, he nails it.
And, we get bits we have a giant person in the middle of a battle between a bunch of superheroes. Thankfully, that person does not die, but something bad happens in that sequence to someone.
Yes.
Again, they literally...
I'm very worried about the long term, how they're going to... If they're just going to brush over that, but we'll get to that when we get to the air.
Well, there is a series of that sort of thing happening in the Iron Man comics, so I think we're fine.
Okay. Anything else with the Accords?
I'm sorry, Jacob, you have anything to say on the Accords? Just kind of Tony Stark's side on that?
They present it in a good way so that it's something that there really isn't a good answer to, so they can be divided on it, and regardless of whose side gets picked, it's not a perfect solution, and I think that works well as a plot point. So I would say that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I love that they worked in such a way, such a hard thing to pull off, by the way, that they got us to it didn't sorry, they didn't make Cap the bad. They didn't make him like the obvious good guy of the movie. Again, that was a big thing the comics, but the big flaw of the comics was Iron Man was directly the bad guy. They made it really.
I still think after having seen it a second time, I still think Tony Stark is slightly more sympathetic than Steve Rogers is. Very slightly more sympathetic.
And again, that's up to interpretation. What's so cool about this, it's
Right,
Captain America's
exactly.
movie, so you would think it would be skewed towards Captain America. And while he is the main character of this movie, I think it's pretty firm. It's him. We're in Cap's head a lot in this movie. You're kind of with him during his moments, again, with all the Bucky stuff. But at the same time, don't get me wrong, it's not just saying, well, you know who's going to win in this fight. It's like, again, you don't know who you're rooting for because they're both bring excellent points. No one's right, no one's wrong.
It's the antithesis of the comics, where the comics, the big flaw was that Tony was just kind of a bastard and we knew he was wrong. And whereas this, the great thing about it is, like, right from the jump, right from the get-go, they go out of their way to establish why we should feel sympathy for Tony Stark in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
So, really well done. Okay. So I guess we should get to assembling the team, unless anyone has anything else.
I mean, just a little bit about the performance for Tony Stark. I think he really comes up, both Steve and Tony both come off as like the kicked puppy in this movie, where they're both like, they have like this, obsession, they're driven to do this specific thing, and it just, the consequences of their actions just dump all over everyone else. My girlfriend has OCD, and she talks about something called the cognitive distortion, which is basically getting obsessed with something. Like you can't get it out of your head, and you have to like resolve that in your mind, or figure out something to do with it. And I think both of them are doing that. Where Steve is just like, I have to protect my friends. He protected me. My friend is more important than anybody else right now, and I have to do this. And Tony is the same way, where he's saying, like, I have to atone for my actions. I have to do something to, reduce my guilt, or else I'll never be, happy again. And they're both just, their drive to do those things just makes everything awful for the people around them.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Again, the last thing on Iron Man's kind of characterization here is that they really show that they put it all in the focus of because they have this great little kind of way of kind of correcting the kind of some issues with the other two movies featuring Iron Man, is that he kind of gives up, but no, that's his thing with his character. He gives up and then he's still back at it, and they address that in this movie. That that's why he and Pepper are on the outs right now.
Right,
not
right.
Because Gwyneth Paltrow wants too much money.
Paltrow is also expensive.
That's not the reason, because she wants too much money. Oh.
No, that can't be the reason at all. Oh, God, no.
She names her kid a fruit. That's not.
Oh, God. Not okay. That's getting into people's. That's taking personal.
No. But seriously, just I love the I love that they kind of put on the focus. It's Iron Man's character that he's an imperfect guy. He makes all of these. Think about it, though. So Iron Man is at his lowest point in this movie. It's like, think about it. Going back way to that first Iron Man movie, he keeps his name was associated with death for so long, and still after everything he does, it's still associated with death, and he's trying to change that so hard in this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is both sides you can root for. And speaking of those sides you can root for, let's talk about them getting him as what the lineup is for our sides here.
All right. So how are we going to do this? Are we just going to talk about kind of like very, very briefly go through the characters we haven't talked about yet, Dragon?
Yeah, and like any funny stories in gathering them.
Okay, can we start with Vision and Wanda?
Okay, so let's start with Team Iron Man.
Okay, so, well, first of all, the reason I like Vision and Wanda in this movie so much, they are definitely not the main characters in the story by any stretch, but, BlueDragonFive, I think we did kind of predict, they're in sort of a Romeo and Juliet situation with this, where Vision is probably more on Stark's side, Wanda's probably a little bit more on Cap's side.
Absolutely, and again, I love Vision was so well characterized in this movie.
Vision in people clothes,
which was great.
Can we talk about how cool Vision in people clothes is? I'm sorry.
It's not just people clothes. He's wearing some really nice. He's wearing nice.
I know. Yeah, he's stylish.
I heard in the kind of some of the like an article or something, they really gave him like kind of an Errol Flynn kind of old school.
Oh God.
Like a Cary Grant. That was Cary Grant. That's what it was. Not Errol Flynn.
Totally,
They gave him a Cary Grant kind of the dashing man look, which looks really good on him.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
I do confess, I thought the scene with them cooking together, I felt that was really creepy. If I'm honest.
How is that creepy? You mean Mike?
Well, like it started out like as sort of like a well, I want to get to know you. I want to make sure that we can be friends. But by the end, as it was clear that he was doing that like to help keep her there, he basically revealed his motivation as these are the things I do to keep you complacent, keep you happy, so that you don't cause problems. So to me, that he was able to make it that genuine, but then the subtext was, this will keep you complacent, was really weird to me. That just felt very uncomfortable.
I honestly, I hear you, but I honestly think the point of that whole situation with him and Wanda just kind of living that faux domestic kind of situation there is, it's supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to be like, again, it's supposed to be like Vision is kind of stepping onto a morally gray area here with this.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
I'll tell you something with the Vision Wanda thing. Again, it's a great. I think they have a really great dynamic. And again, I think a lot of that is just coming from Vision. Just he kind of has feelings for her, but doesn't quite realize it yet. And again, he's just voicing the truth. And again, I love that they have such charm in that scene though. Just like him saying, "Wanda, no one dislikes you," and there's her like she's really charmed by him. So, again, I think there's like they're not. I love that they don't make it like that, like over the head romance or anything. You can see it's like potential budding romance. Definitely a really great friendship between these two, but definitely room for a little romance. They're kind of doing that kind of domestic stuff. At the same time, it's Vision just he says, look, I have untapped power too. We both got our powers from the same things, and I mean that could be seen as dangerous. Believe me, they saw me as and so I thought almost bashed my head in with that giant hammer. But he knocked some sense into me that I got in full cognition there. And the point is, I think there's a lot of similarities. It's like him pointing out that he just doesn't know how to process. Kind of like what I'm saying now might be going a little far in the wrong direction. I'm trying to say, look, we all like you, Wanda. There's nothing wrong here. And however, I have been ordered to kind of make you stay here for not your safety necessarily, but for everyone else's. Again, he just doesn't know how to quite kind of say that delicately yet. Right. Because again, he's still learning everything. One thing I want to make a big call for the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward, real quick with Vision. Okay. There is a line in here. I'm convinced. I think I know what they're going to do in the two Infinity Wars.
Oh dear.
Okay.
So Vision has this really great line where he says, the whole thing about this thing. My basically recapping has an Infinity Gem in his head, for the general audience. Just saying, this thing in my head, like, it has power over me, which is it's a good speech, don't get me wrong. Him saying, this thing, I don't know how this works, I don't know what this is. I mean, I know it's an Infinity Gem, I know it's not of this earth, all that stuff, but I mean, I want, one day I hope to have power over it. That line, one day I hope to have power over it, or be able to control it. I'm thinking that, in End of Infinity War Part 1, because we know the big thing that's going to draw Thanos to the Earth is the Vision. The Vision is going to draw Thanos to Earth because it's the last Infinity Gem. It's on Earth.
Sure.
So first part is going to probably end with Thanos ripping the gem from Vision's head. We think Vision's dead.
Oh, man.
And part 2, in the third act of the Infinity War Part 2, it's going to be Vision. If not, I'm not saying reconstituting stuff. I'm saying he's going to save the day in some way, or at least help save the day by controlling that gem in the Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay, that's a good call.
I'm predicting that now. So years down the line, we'll see if I'm right.
Really quick, I just want to say that I do think Wanda just kind of quietly came in and had one of the most complex story arcs of anyone, really, and I don't think anyone was expecting that.
Like the character who had her arc in Civil War, I believe is Speedball. He's the one who's kind of responsible for the team, and he turned into this guy called Penance, and it was really weird. But point is, I think Wanda, again, they took things from the comic, they made it a lot better in this movie, I think. I mean, no, we didn't have any awesome Punisher scenes, but you take what you get.
Okay, let's see. Who should we jump to next?
Can I make an observation about the teams?
Yeah, sure, quick.
I noticed that pretty much everyone on Iron Man's side, they turn on.
Right.
In some way they turn on. With the exception of Rhodey, the point is everyone. Tony Stark's side leads to doom because again,
Rhodey is not going to turn on Tony.
Yeah, Rhodey does not turn on Tony. I'm saying everything. Tony's side falters, and every member falters on him in some way.
Yeah, you're right.
I just want to point that out because everyone either has a change of heart, like has room for we're realizing we're on the wrong side here.
Okay, so we still have a lot of guys to get to. So
Well, yeah, we could list off a few and just kind of go through like the introductions, I guess.
okay, so Hawkeye. You guys explain to me why Hawkeye's there, because I've seen it twice and I don't understand.
I guess Cap calls him, and that's it.
I mean, it's like they clearly establish he's in retirement. He doesn't want to have anything to do with the Avengers. The only thing I can grasp onto is because he had that connection to Wanda at the end of Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
But even that, I think, is kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, or he, maybe he's there because Natasha's being dumb.
Oh, God.
Well, no, I like that.
Can you imagine that conversation? Like, Steve calls Clint, and he's just like, hey, Wanda's being really dumb. Can you come help me? And he's like, yeah, okay. Like,
God, he has no idea what he's getting himself into.
I can see that happening.
Oh, God.
I'm not saying it's the best character motivation, but I can see that happening.
I'm thinking a lot of that is, Cap is he has no, aside from Falcon and Bucky, he has no one on his, and Sharon Carter, he has no one on his team, so he's figuring, well, we gotta get Wanda out of her current situation. Who knows Wanda very well? Hawkeye. I really need, I could definitely use the manpower of Hawkeye. He's good. I get a sense he's going to be on. He's not going to be on Iron Man's side. He might have a sense of that. Just knowing Hawkeye and just kind of maybe knowing this isn't the right way to go. Again, we don't quite know why Hawkeye's on Cap's side, aside from just he's.
My problem isn't him being on any side. My problem is him being there at all. Like, I just think it's a stretch that they convinced him to be there.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, Hawkeye's not really doing much.
Honesty,
Captain America needs my help, and Falcon. That was good enough for Falcon. It's good enough for anyone. Captain America needs my help. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
In all honesty, his contribution probably, could have been cut without a whole lot of differences in the movie.
Probably.
One or two lines that would have been valuable.
You would have needed someone to shoot Ant-Man up into Iron Man. That's about the only thing you would have needed to be flexible with.
Which I called, by the way. I called that.
Yeah, you did call that. Okay.
No, but seriously, with Hawkeye though, I do love that he's they kind of play him like Green Arrow has kind of he's really against kind of this one kind of like a basically I think Eric on the thing he said it was on Primetime Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he said he was like really he's like kind of the uber Republican or something. The way he phrased points, he's really one side on left or right. He's really just kind of going against him with all he's got.
That's true. Okay, guys, I'm just going to kind of jump around here. Let's see.
Hawkeye has to drive the van to get everyone.
Yeah.
He's the only one
we get into the whole thing with Sharon Carter and then Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes?
Yeah, those three are just kind of in the same one.
Okay. So Sharon Carter, I honestly she's fine. Her contributions are great. I think she has really good motivation for Cap, good connection to Peggy. I don't buy the romance. I think the romance is borderline creepy. Back me up, Jacob.
I have mixed feelings about it. I feel like it's wonderful that it's there because I feel like Cap needs it. But I feel like that it could have been established more strongly.
It was set up in Winter Soldier. Almost everything in this movie has been set up in the other Marvel movies.
Yeah, but that really wasn't like a well showcased plot line. They have like two conversations, maybe 10 minutes of screen time together, and then in this one, it's been 2 years since that movie came out. So.
Well, it's implied they've known each other for 2 years.
All right.
Yeah,
Dragon.
It would have been. I feel like it would have been more, dramatic if that end culmination of that romance hadn't been until later. They almost kiss at that moment when by the car, and then later on in the movie when things have really gone to shit, then she shows up and she's like, I shouldn't be here, but you need this piece of key information or something, and then Cap and then they kiss, and then that was
they had their almost kissed early. They had the almost kissed early in the movie though.
Yeah, but I wish it would have gone longer. I wish it would have been a more continuous plot arc because it felt like it was rushed a little bit.
Well, that's fair.
Dragon, do you want to talk about probably one of your favorite moments, which is the reaction to the kiss?
Sure. So first of all, let me mention again.
Yeah.
I like Sharon Carter. I liked her in Winter Soldier, and the point is,
Yeah, the
I think
actress
she's
is wonderful.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's this fantastic moment. So again, I mean, I like that she does her purse. She's on Cap's side, and through and through, she brings him the shield, and she brings Falcon's wings. Yeah, she's very useful. She's she's kind of like on the inside, being CIA. Again, not shield, not anything in particular. And again, also too, I just want to point out, rewatching it, just kind of dawned on me. Oh my God, we don't have we were predicting it was going to be like we're gonna have a little moment of Sharon Carter fighting Black Widow.
right.
Which would have been, in some way, would have been the descendants of Dottie versus Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
But what we do have is almost better. We have them teaming up against the Winter Soldier when he goes rogue. So we have
Right.
so we have Peggy Carter and Dottie versus the Winter Soldier.
So it's kind of like the Peggy Carter and Dottie relationship in season 2 in a way.
Yes.
Oh God.
Anyway, so there's this fantastic moment after they kiss. I think it's a well-earned kiss. You know, they've been dating. It's implied, and I don't know. Well, regardless, so they kiss, and there's a hysterical moment while they're having their conversation about helping each other out and kiss. I know, but late, right? But there's mode in this little adorable,
oh my God,
like this bug of a car, like this buggy of a car. It's again, I think perfect for Captain America because he gets out of the car, he's huge.
Oh, it's like a fucking clown car for Captain America.
But again, it's blue for Captain America.
Right.
Anyway, so he gets out of the same. In this tiny car, you have Bucky and you have Bucky in the back. He's a big guy. And you have Falcon in the front seat. Because first of all, I love the fact that Falcon's in the front seat because Bucky's in trouble. It's like he's like, oh, your father when he gets home, you're sitting in the back seat, Mister. Something like that. I don't know.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're right.
When Bucky's in trouble, so he's in the back seat.
There is something to read into there.
It's like him asking, hey, can you move your seat up? Says no. I love that Falcon is still keeping him from Winter Soldier. Like, you tried to kill me for the whole movie.
And simultaneously, I love how Bucky is like he's just making a reasonable request. He's not out of his mind. He's just it's just like, hey, move the seat up, man, come on.
And he's not like demanding. He says, can you move your seat up?
Right.
Just the immediacy of the no. And Anthony, first of all, these two guys, they've been doing interviews together like crazy. And they're the best of buddies in real life.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's so adorable. Again, just this idea of Captain America and his two buddies, and this is Bucky when he's back to normal. It's like Captain America and his two buddies in this adorable little blue car. He's kissing the girl. It's like the ultimate buddy movie. And then if you could throw in Paul Rudd in there, I would pay.
Oh God.
I would pay so much money just to see
Paul Rudd
those
should have just
four.
been Ant-Man and just transformed and like
just give me those three guys in a road trip movie, and then they meet Paul Rudd along the way. Then it's the four of them through the course of the movies. Give me that. But regardless, so he gives the girl, and then it's like Bucky scoots over in the meantime. By the way, I just love this moment that after the kiss, he kind of looks after she leaves, and he looks at the two guys in the car, and they're both giving a nod hysterically. It's like giving a nod of like, yeah.
It's the tiniest smile.
Donnie's smile is given. Yeah, Cap, you got it. He's got it, folks. We still got the Americans. Star Spangled Man's got it.
Okay. Really quick, let's talk about Falcon, I guess.
Falcon's awesome. I like him.
Yeah, there's not much more to say about him. He's just. I like how his technology keeps progressing from movie to movie.
His suit looks so good in this movie. It's been progressively getting even better and better. But here, it's great. And he has his Red Wing. He has in the comics, he had like a pet falcon that he used in the field. And they have the technological version of that.
I feel like he's getting more creative. Like the way that they're using the fight scenes, where he's using like the wings as a shield, and then he's using them as like a brace in one scene, and there's just like more cool stuff that's happening with it, and they're thinking creatively. Let's go back to Batman versus Superman. There's only so many times you can watch a dude get thrown through a wall, which is also the problem with Man of Steel. Before that fight scene is boring. But yeah, with Falcon, all the different creative things he did with his wings and with the gear that he had was just fantastic. Some of the most fun fight moments were his.
Totally.
Yeah, it might be just reading into it, but with the wings used as a shield thing, might be some foreshadowing to yet another Cap replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I definitely think they're going down that road eventually. I think post Phase 3.
Again, we have two excellent replacements for Cap.
Right, that's true. I would want to see a movie where it's just Bucky and Falcon competing to be the new Captain America.
Battle-
I would
battle-
watch the crap out of that
See,
movie.
instead of Battle for the Cowl, you have Battle for the Wings.
Battle for the
Wings.
Shield.
Even
Battle for
better.
the
I
Shield.
don't know why I'm thinking Wings. Battle for the Shields get done so
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
Anyway,
I
so
believe...
the point is, those two guys are really great together, and then just Falcon's always really cool.
Yeah.
And again, I love his name. He's treating it like it's an actual pet. It says, Natasha, thank you. This is, I'm not,
Yeah.
it's my pet.
His
Okay,
name
I
is Red
believe
Wing.
Yeah.
the only two
not
characters
calling it
we
that.
haven't touched on yet, I think, are Black Widow and then Ant-Man. Is that correct?
Yeah, sounds right.
Or am I
Yeah.
missing one?
I'm saying we mentioned Bucky already, so yeah, it's everyone. Oh, yeah, we mentioned everyone in Cap's team once we mentioned Ant-Man.
Okay, so let's go Ant-Man and then end on Romanoff, I guess. Because Ant-Man, we're going to talk about him mostly in the context of the airport scene, but just in general, did you guys kind of feel like he was maybe a little bit shoehorned in with the plot?
I'm still arguing, Tiki, again, if not for Spider-Man, 100% for Cap. He's the element of surprise. No one knows about this guy. No one's going to see him coming, which is very useful in the fight. I think that's a strategic choice to get Ant-Man. And again, Falcon knows
I do like the
Ant-Man.
logic of like, hey, what are you going to do? I'm a criminal anyways. It's not like I've got anything better going on.
Yeah.
Falcon knows Ant-Man, and Cap's very low on men. Let's not forget that. He's very low on manpower.
They set up
Alright.
that he was going to show up at the end of the Ant-Man movie because, like, he fights Falcon to get into the Avengers base, and then at the end, Michael Pena is talking about there's this guy who's saying, I'm looking for a guy who can get really small. And we see him again, so it's like we know that something is going to loop him in. So we had this pre-established, plot line that was leading in that direction. So that worked perfectly fine with me. I had zero problems with him showing up just almost apropos of nothing.
I'm still hoping that Michael Pena gets the Silver Surfer speech at the beginning of Infinity War where he's just recapping the whole thing. And then I got shot up into the galaxy and I met this big tree and he was like, hey, S.A., I'm a Groot.
Oh my god!
See, if only they could have like a little more. Occasionally after
And then I met a duck who was smoking a lot of cigars.
If they have a thing where like in between Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they kind of have like a little specialist kind of recapping what's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What if just Michael Pena recapped all the Marvel movies for an hour?
Yes, I would be so down for that. Okay.
So this guy called Whiplash, he's just going crazy in the racetrack. He's flipping cars over, and Iron Man's like going out and hitting him on the back of the head and stuff. I don't know.
So my favorite Ant-Man scene that is not in the context of the action is definitely his interaction with Stark, where Tony walks into the prison and he's just like, Mr. Pym told me never trust a Stark. Oh, I'm sorry. Who are you?
Oh, come on, man. He's kind of pulling Star-Lord. Come on, man.
Right.
I'll tell you what I love with Ant-Man. I just love him meeting Captain America. I was so delighted by that scene. It's such a great scene. Before all the the awesome airport stuff.
Of course.
You're awesome. I'm shaking your hand too long. Wow, this is great.
The bit that cracks me up, and I love I just love little niceties. Those are some of my favorite moments in these Marvel movies. I just love it when shaking Cap's hand and he looks back and he sees Scarlet Witch just, oh yeah, I know you too, you're great. And then she gives a smile. Seriously, man, Scarlet Witch has been through a lot this movie. She accidentally killed a bunch of people. She's feeling really bummed out about that. And man, brighten your day. How nice is that?
Yeah.
And
Seriously, look at that smile on her.
My theory is I don't even think Ant-Man knows who Scarlet Witch is, but he's just saying that just to be nice.
I would like to think he actually knows. I 100%.
I think it's a little bit funnier if he doesn't know, but he's just kind of coming off like, oh, I know you too. You're wonderful. Oh yeah.
It does sound kind of like a write-off answer, though. You're right. I don't know, just because how nice it is, I'm saying, yeah, he knew who she was. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else with Ant-Man?
She was all over the news, after all. You got to imagine.
That's true.
He gets giant. That's kind of a big deal.
Well, that's later. It's later when we get to the
Airport scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, also we have a War Machine, which we mentioned. They were saving for the airport scene.
Oh, I forgot War Machine. Crap.
I mean, look, Rhodey has a great thing right at the beginning there. I just love this. The best friends of our two sides here. They're both having this great argument between each other about the points. So, they're both military men. They're so excellent. You have Rhodey and you have Rhodey and Sam Wilson having this great argument against each other for both sides. And I love Falcon pointing out, and this is an excellent observation for all the Iron Man movies, that Rhodey likes to play both sides. When are you going to stop playing both sides, huh?
Okay, we'll get to Rhodey more in the airport, but let's talk about Romanoff really quick.
Yeah. So I kind of like that she's kind of the spot again. One, because it was always such an unconventional choice when they announced who's on whose side. I was like, oh my god, after Winter Soldier, she's not on Captain America's side? What gives?
Right.
And I love that she's, one, kind of playing the double agent, but secondly, I love she's kind of the Spider-Man for his team.
She really is in a lot of ways. I mean, I think between Black Panther and her, she's definitely the Spider-Man, for sure.
But again, like everyone on Iron Man's team, with the exception of War Machine, is a Spider-Man. They all kind of they all change sides on him.
Oh god.
They do. Everyone changes sides on Iron Man. Must not be that effective a leader.
He probably. Well, I don't think he is, but
that's probably the point, though.
I mean, it is Captain America versus like a billionaire alcoholic, so. But Jacob, thoughts on Black Widow?
She's kind of subdued in this movie, and I think that's a good thing for her because she's the most logical of the group in the sense that she's like,
right.
I don't know if this is the right side, but I feel like this is more practical for me to be here for the time being. And as things unfold, she's thinking, well, I feel like this side is right, but the way we're going about it is pretty sloppy, and we're not paying attention to all the details. So she's kind of the straight man in the piece, and I think that fills a very important niche in the movie. I liked that she was given that particular role. So yeah, okay. More creative fight scenes with her. She's always got the fun, like, spinning around on people and
right.
It's always entertaining to see that. Her fight when Zemo brainwashes Bucky using the activation codes again. The sequence with her fighting him is really intense.
She tries the same move from Winter Soldier, but he's just not having it. He's just like beating him on his head. Just, do you remember me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess with that, let's get to the airport scene, if you guys don't mind.
So, huge standout of the movie, the all-beloved airport scene. This is the way you end Act 2.
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad this isn't the finale of the whole movie. I'm glad that the movie ended with a much, much more personal conflict. This is a scene that's going to get butts in seats, but I think the actual ending is what's going to make this movie kind of stand out and be memorable to people. So, let's not bury the lead any further. Spider-Man versus Giant Man. Holy shit! I was jumping up and down.
Spider-Man.
What?
Well, you just said Spider-Man's line.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Forget it. Go on.
Yeah, you messed up my thought process, man. You threw off my truth. Come on.
Well, you had the ultimate. Okay. Go on.
Okay, so yes, I was sitting there in the theater, jumping up and down like a little kid, all excited. I did not expect Giant Man to show up. That was a big deal for me. Yeah. I'm not even a huge Giant Man fan, but I do know about the potential for Ant-Man to turn into Giant Man, and it didn't even cross my mind that we'd see that until it happened. And so, and also BlueDragonFive, you and I think probably the best thing that we predicted was that Ant-Man and Spider-Man need to have some sort of conflict with each other because they're both insect-themed heroes.
How cool are insect-themed heroes after this movie? Come on.
My God, we got that.
The bit where he's talking about, you ever seen this really old movie, Empire Strikes Back? As soon as he said that, I was just like, oh, he's going to add at him.
Oh, I know exactly what's coming next.
I tell you though, I still I would say Ant-Man stole this scene. I think he was excellent in this movie, and this all the stuff's pretty much in this scene. It was so good. He stole. It was him. It's Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Black Panther steal this movie. They do.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's see what else is in the airport fight that we have.
But again, I love all the other Ant-Man stuff in this scene too. Like, first of all, I love the redesign on his costume. I think it looks cool. What do you guys think? He's like throwing the water truck gag.
I couldn't tell. When he goes into Iron Man, do we get a shot of the Tony Stark, like the POV of his face, and then...
We don't. We see his face, but we don't see the... He didn't exactly play it as I predicted.
That's a missed opportunity. I wish they would have showed, like, the tiny Ant-Man, like, jumping up and punching Tony Stark in the face and the
Yeah.
helmet. That would have been great.
That's what I predicted going into. It's like, well, forget that shit, because he's on his arm. And I figured, why doesn't he just dive in like one of the divots and he's in the armor? And they did that. Hey, you might need to get this one taken back into the shop. Oh god. Ant-Man I love Ant-Man so much in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He's a great addition. He really is.
And again, give me that road trip movie of those 4 characters. Road trip. No, but seriously,
just call it the Marvel movie.
Yes, I've been waiting. Seriously, I've been waiting for Giant Man. I expected the post-credit scene of the first Ant-Man movie to be him accidentally becoming Giant Man.
Oh, that would have been pretty cool.
And they finally did it here. And I love it. He's kind of they're hinting at the minute he says, you need something you need a distraction. I got something, but I can't hold it for very long. He's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's gonna turn the Giant Man. And then Spider-Man has the reaction he does, and oh god.
Holy shit.
Exactly. Oh yeah, it's a great moment. Then I gotta love Rhodey just being baffled completely by that's Rhodey's
right.
all of these Marvel movies. Rhodey's just his main job is to be stupefied by all the superheroes. Seriously, Iron Man 1, it's like, oh my god, he's in an iron suit, and then all this stuff. He's always just blown away by everything. And it's here. It's like oh come on, you're big too. Come on. Oh god, just there's so many really cool things. Just to kind of again, just when Ant-Man goes inside the Iron Man armor, he flips Black Widow, and he's like dragging her head on the ground.
Oh god, right.
Yeah,
Jacob, anything to say about the Giant Man stuff?
Was that directed at me?
Yes.
Yeah, Giant Man stuff. Anything to say?
Not particularly. I mean, they handled it really well. We got to see Spider-Man crawl over the visor, which was very exciting.
Yes, I guess wall crawling.
It's a great little bit of fan service. It's a nice little detail. Like I said, there's lots of little moments in this movie that are very satisfying, and that's definitely one of them.
Totally.
I tell you, I love that while they were fighting, this big difference between Batman v Superman. I love that here they weren't trying to kill each other, with the exception of Black Panther, who again he has his vendetta, so he's up in the air. But everyone else, they're not trying to kill each other, they're trying to stop each other.
Sure.
Yeah, because remember, you saw like Black Widow and Black Widow and Hawkeye. I mean, as they're fighting, says, "Yeah, we're still friends. Depends how hard you is." Saying, like they're trying not to kill each other. But Scarlet Witch is coming in for the save on these moves, but not like with the exception of Black Panther trying to kill Winter Soldier. Everyone's okay.
Okay.
And again, Spider-Man just as the quipping with our two heroes here, with Falcon and Winter Soldier, is then him quipping him, webbing him down. So you couldn't fly 5 minutes earlier. I hate you so much. Just Falcon voicing his hatred of Winter Soldier is hysterical. I hate you so much.
Also, I love the way that the whole thing with Spider-Man ends. It's totally like designed to get an applause in the theater, where it's like, "You're done, kid. Don't make me call Aunt May."
But I'll tell you,
Mr. Stark, no. I'm done.
I'll tell you my favorite moment, though. By the way, I love that the minute Spider-Man shows up, he does the awesome thing where he takes Cap's shield, he's holding it. It's so great that he spent all this time coming into Marvel Cinematic Universe as this grand entrance. I gotta tell you, in retrospect, they really shouldn't have put that in the trailer because it's such an awesome moment.
Yeah, I'll agree. Maybe they could have put Tony Stark talking to Peter Parker in the trailer, and that would have played better.
They really, I'll tell you what they should have done. They should have used like the little clips of footage that he played for Spider-Man. That's all they should have shown, which is just enough Spider-Man to say, "Oh my God, he's there! He's in the costume!" Ah.
Right. And then when he shows up with the full like Tony Stark modified costume, it's like a big deal.
Yeah, like that's what they should have done. But anyway, I love that the Spider-Man's finally here. Marvel's gone through like an arm and a leg to finally get him in some sort of arrangement. Then he's saying, "Hello, everyone," and then Iron Man's like, "Okay, that's enough. Don't give him the life story." He's saying, he's like, not really much of a talking point here. He's trying to shut Spider-Man up the minute he shows up. Anyway, I love that though. It's like he spent so many years. It's been 8 years since he can show up in the Marvel universe, and finally he's there. And like, no, come on, kid, don't spoil the moment. But I love that there's this fantastic moment, one of the best Spider-Man moments in the movie, just when he and Cap have that moment where, first of all, showing he has all the reverence in the world for Captain America, and it's not like Spider-Man blindly saying, "Hey, Tony Stark says I should hate you, so I hate you." It's nothing like that, thankfully. It's like they still got a glimpse of just all the reverence, because in the comics he has so much reverence for Captain America, and there's that moment of like where he's holding the thing above he's holding like a little tarmac thing above his head, and then he says, "Hey kid, where are you from?" Queens, Brooklyn. That's so nice. And then at the end there it says, "Hey, Steve, you're not from Brooklyn." That guy.
Right.
But oh my God, it's such a great moment of camaraderie, and Captain America saying, "You got a heart, kid. I like you." Says, "Where are you from?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, that's a really good moment. Anyway, so we should talk about
Okay,
the
last
ending of
thing
the
to
scene.
talk. Yeah, that's the last thing we should talk about. I'm very worried that the next time we see Rhodey, he's just gonna have like some cybernetic legs or some cheap crap like that. I don't know.
Well, I think he'll be walking around, but I don't think he's going to be getting in the suit again. I think that'd be kind of reckless.
Okay.
I mean, I have mixed feelings about that. There's part of me that feels like he should almost like stay disabled. Like I feel like he shouldn't, there shouldn't be like a magical fix for being disabled.
I agree. Yeah.
Because that's if you put that in movies, then disabled kids are gonna feel like there's some magic cure for me, and it's okay to accept who you are. You don't have to have like magical cure. It's one of I mean, it's been done in other movies before. Where it's like we'll find a way. We'll use this unexplainable technology to fix you. It's like it's not a problem that needs to be fixed. It's just a reality.
Yeah,
Like that's. I wish that was a thing. I really hope that becomes a thing, because I think that would reflect well in the Marvel universe for portraying a disabled character in a positive light.
You know what the rationale could be for that?
It
could be, Tony Stark trying to fix his problems with technology, and then it's kind of being confronted by his friend. It's not the same. Walking again, it's cheapening. It's a pale imitation of what I used to be able to do. So he accepts his fate.
Yeah.
But again, what if he proves very useful as kind of the what if? Let me ask you this: how would you feel about if Rhodey became kind of the something that's sometimes done in Iron Man? They kind of pulled it like Alfred with Batman, where he would have people on the intercom systems. Like, what if Rhodey was just coming into him as kind of addition to Friday?
Sure, yeah. Or if, Rhodey was piloting, drone suits or...
Oh, that'd be awesome, yeah.
If he could command like a fleet of, little drones, that would be epic.
Yeah, you could just pilot the War Machine armor, like Tony did with in Iron Man 3 when he saved all the people. I'm like, yeah, you gotta do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Like, I could imagine Falcon flying around with a whole bunch of mechs at his side, and some of them are controlled by Rhodey. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but seriously, the way that happens, though, oh my God, they play it so real and so tension filled. Just when he's going down, once a vision, we didn't know who's gonna hit War Machine and blow him out his head. For the longest time we thought it was gonna be Bucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Boy, being kind of friendly fire, being by Vision who's distracted.
I think that's another moment that shouldn't have been in the trailers, by the way. Just the whole shot of Rhodey without his mask after he fell.
Yeah, because everyone thought he was going to get killed.
Right. And I totally did too, and I thought Rhodey was going to go in fucking Age of Ultron as well.
I mean, folks, let's not forget, there are other horrible things that can happen to people aside from dying.
I know.
Let's not forget. I mean, the paralysis,
at this point, isn't Quicksilver like the only hero that's been permanently killed off in the MCU so far?
I don't know if you count Coulson.
I don't count permanently killed off.
Oh, right, sorry, permanently. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, they can say that according to Age of Ultron, he's killed off all they want, but no, he's alive.
It's strongly implied that Odin gets killed off, but that's yet to be
determined. We'll have to see about that because of the Anthony situation.
I don't know why he's not coming back.
We'll see.
It's ridiculous if they don't. Anyway.
All right. Well, anything else on the airport scene? Because I kind of want to get.
Well, the last thing with the airport scene is like, I love that Falcon. He has that. I love Falcon's trying to save Rhodey though, just showing he sees, oh my God, he's going down. He could die. It's really bad. He's going down there to save him, and unfortunately, neither of them reach him in time. It's, oh my God, you feel the chills and the impact when he hits, don't you? Because it's a hard hit when he hits his back. And and this is the thing. I don't know if they pulled this from the comics. They probably did. I don't know. I know in the animated series of Iron Man, Rhodey had a profound fear of drowning in the Iron Man armor.
Mm.
So
Right,
the
right.
thing is, I think he ran out. Tony went crazy for a while, and they did the armor wars thing in the animated series, where Tony was just going around like crazy, and just disabling people. And War Machine tried to stop him. He disabled his armor, and then he was drowning. And War Machine had a fear of drowning in the past, but trapped in the armor really messed with him psychologically.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm saying here is they kind of, I don't know if they homage there. His point is Rhodey being in dead armor as it's falling to the ground, or something bad happening to the armor. He's just helpless there. I kind of like they had that tint.
Right.
I'm fine. I'm blind here, guys. What's going on? Help!
Okay. So, Jacob, are you good on time? We've got like 3 more things we have to go through.
If I can be done in another half hour or so, I think I'll be good.
Okay, Dragon, I think we could do that. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So next would be kind of our villain scheme.
Okay, so Zemo, let's go through it really quick. He doesn't have a lot of screen time throughout the movie, but he does have a pretty good presence behind him. It's funny with Zemo, because I feel like Zemo is a character where the initial reviews that I've heard from, people were kind of down on Zemo, but now I think a lot of the fans are responding to Zemo a lot more than the early critics are. And I got to admit, I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't necessarily think the actor has the best screen presence. It's kind of one of those things where if you didn't necessarily know he was the villain, you wouldn't really be drawn to him to begin with. Having said that, I do think out of all the villains in the MCU so far, he has by far the most effective plan. So you got to give him some credit there.
All right.
Oh yeah. Again, I really wish they somehow if they could somehow just give him the purple ski cap. Again, starting off with the
I
cap.
know. You're bothered by that.
I'm saying they don't. I understand they don't have to go full mask, if not just for a scene put him in purple ski mask. But what if they start him off with like a mauve cap, like a ski cap, so
Right.
thing, and then maybe later on with Masters of Evil, then he pulls down the full thing as like during a bank robbery or something. I don't know. Anyway. Point is, though, the only thing I was conflicted with Baron Zemo, I think I've made my peace with now because just like, it's such a brilliant plan. The thing is, like traditionally, he's a Baron Zemo. He's a big deal with Hydra. It's usually the way they go with Zemo. And here they kind of made him Sokovian, which I mean, I kind of like it seems like they're going for like an Iron Man 3 sort of thing, where you have someone who's so under the radar, hence the performance that some people think aren't wow. He's like not over the top or anything, but no, I think he has that menace.
I've heard some people compare him to Heath Ledger's Joker, and I'm like, that is just two entirely different worlds. I mean, this guy is very understated, whereas the whole point of Heath Ledger's Joker is just kind of like this whole like larger than life presence. You know what I mean?
He gives this great understated performance because that's the menace and that's the danger of him. He's forgotten in the ashes by the Avengers, and that's what he represents.
Right.
It's like, you guys forgot me. My family they died during the cleanup effort. It's like
right.
And because of that, because you've forgotten me, I'm going to turn you against each other. It's this really. Yeah, I think it's a really clever plan. I like it. The making him Sokovian though, it doesn't kill. It just ties it into the movies more.
Oh, I agree.
I enjoy a lot of the Marvel MCU villains, I should say, but they do tend to fall into one of 2 categories. They tend to either be a madman or a zealot of some kind.
Yeah.
And I think this was the first real glimpse of a Marvel villain that we had that was not one of those 2. So he wasn't crazy, he wasn't a sociopath, he wasn't, driven by a task that, we don't have good understanding for the motivations for. He was driven by a task, but he did it very methodically. He did it in a way that was, unobtrusive to the real world. He did stuff underhanded, but he was like interacting with the maid at the hotel or the woman who was bringing him breakfast and everything, and he was living a normal life. He was just slowly over time building this really in-depth psychological attack, and he did absolutely no physical attacking of them. He just wanted to see them fall apart from their own sins. He wanted to turn almost like V for Vendetta, where he wants to like turn people's sins against them.
Right.
Find a way to make their own guilt and their own weight of their actions bring them to their knees.
It's like he's probably embittered on some level, like all their crimes, all this damage, and they're getting away scot-free.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no more of that. I'm gonna forget the Accords of now trying to take care of it. The time has passed. I mean, with going on the Accords, they're definitely part of his plan. But you know what? Just there is going to be an aftermath of this, and it's going to be an aftermath that sticks.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure they do suffer in the midst of that, though. Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. Did I distract from your point? I didn't mean to do that.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Anyway,
One
so
thing I want to point out is that I think it's very, very clever that the writers kind of wrote in this whole, like, oh, he's got the army of winter soldiers. Oh, the army of winter soldiers.
I thought that was a clever ploy.
Yeah.
Like,
So
that
that
is...
Makes for a good twist at the end.
Oh, it's a really, really, really good red herring. I think one of the best red herrings that Marvel's done in any of their movies, I think.
Because in that flashback, they did such a good job making the other army, the other 5 Winter Soldiers, look so menacing and so.
Exactly, right.
You saw one of them kick the crap out of Bucky. I mean, you saw how powerful. And that main one, they did such a good job of the red herring.
So overall, I do think Zemo is definitely probably in the top half of the Marvel villains and not the bottom half. I think people kind of gave him a bad rap when the movie came out. I don't really know. And I don't think you have the movie without him, because without him, you don't have the plan and you don't have all the intricacies of why they're fighting. So,
Right.
you know, because I've heard some people say that the movie should have just been the heroes fighting each other and that's it. But I'm like, no, Zemo was the one that provided all the political intrigue to begin with. So.
Oh yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, again, it's just he's the villain plot that worked. And again, first of all, I love it when he's just reading the kind of the activate. I love that the Winter Soldier has kind of like the sleeper agent thing, where you read him these few words in Siberian, and it'll set him off.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, he was this force that was coming and coming. He was in the background, and then of course when he, just that great moment between him and Martin Freeman at the end of like, how does it feel to have it all blow up in your face? Did it?
Again, I can't get over how Martin Freeman, I mean, he's the Hobbit, okay? He's fucking Bilbo Baggins. and yet, when he is on screen, he comes off like the most confident guy in the room.
I mean, it's Arthur from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Come on.
It's great. It's a great performance, and I'm excited. Like, he is going to be more factored into Black Panther. Am I right about that?
Yeah, that's who is from the comics. He's
So I'm excited about that. I think Black Panther right now, it's looking to have a damn good cast, because you've got Andy Serkis, you've got, of course, Chiwetel Ejiofor, you've got Lupita Nyong'o, you've got this guy. It's getting pretty stacked. anyways.
Yeah, but again,
A little aside, there's a great movie. It's a British movie called Wild Target. And it stars Bill Nighy as a hitman who's trying to get out of the game. And Martin Freeman plays another hitman in the movie, and he is just like the creepiest. He's so creepy and gross, and he has like this like really big fake veneers, so he's always got like this giant toothy grin.
Oh god.
I highly recommend it if you want to get the image of Martin Freeman as Bilbo out of your head.
That sounds delightful.
It's
my
really
favorite
good.
And
detail.
also, the image of Martin Freeman is Bilbo is also out of my head because of Fargo, by the way. I just have to point that out. But
I want to mention that my favorite detail with Zemo, and again, Daniel Byrne plays this moment very well. He plays the whole thing really well. I love that when he's listening to the message left by his wife about his son going to sleep and all that stuff, just when he keeps listening to that message through the course of the movie.
Right, yeah.
And, of course, with the whole plot, again, I love how they really format the big twist to kind of transition us into the next bit, I guess, if it's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, it's this great framing device. So you start the movie and you see it periodically through certain points of the Winter Soldier in the midst of a job after he's read, his activation code there, which includes Homecoming, which a lot of people are speculating on.
Right.
Might be a coincidence. I don't know.
I
Homecoming's
totally
awfully
got that the first time I saw it. I was like, ooh,
But again,
Homecoming.
I tell you though, out of all those references though, I love the freight cars there because again, that's what causes death. Freight car.
Oh, I caught that too. Yeah.
That's my little favorite touch. But regardless, though, the point is we see this Winter Soldier on a job. He's on a motorcycle again. Oh my God! Remember that moment where he just took the motorcycle in midair and he got on one.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That gets here in the audience. Everyone loves that moment. Anyway, point is, Winter Soldier's on a job. He's on his motorcycle. He just crashes a car, and again, they played so practical. It looks so beautiful, practical.
A good mystery. Blue Dragon 5. It is like Breaking Bad cold open status. Like, okay, this opens the movie. You don't know.
Well, it's like season 2 of Breaking Bad. It's like the whole, the coroner's van sort of thing.
Right. Where it's like you don't know what the hell it means, but you know it's significant. And then pretty much the next scene you see after that, after the Avengers fight is like kind of like the whole Tony Stark and his family thing. So they very much do spell it out for you, but only people who are really paying attention are going to put the pieces together. That is good writing.
I just love that he lured him out there and he didn't even have to lay a finger on him. He just had to show him something, and then he got out.
Totally.
But anyway, so what he showed him, which again I guess was recorded on the side. Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was like a traffic camera. No, it wasn't a traffic camera. It's stupid. It was.
I thought it was a traffic camera.
No, it was way back in the. No, it was a really good picture for a traffic camera.
Well, whatever.
It was way back in. It was way back in, I guess, mid '70s, early '80s.
Time on semantics. It's
anyway.
It's a camera.
Oh no, it was 1989 or 1990. Anyway, so.
91, I think.
Oh yeah, yes, you're right. 91. How did I not think that? Yes, thank you, Jacob. That's right, because I'm thinking Ant-Man was in '89. Ant-Man was in '89 because they had all these white text on everything in this movie. You know, the 1991 the Berlin.
Oh, I was meaning to ask you guys about that. What do you think of that, Dragon? I actually wanted to bring that up in the non-spoiler cast because, to be honest with you, I thought that stylistically was a little bit distracting.
You know, at first
the letters are fucking giant. You know,
yeah. I'm in agreement with you.
At first, I thought the same thing, but then I became okay with it because I was thinking, you know, it's kind of like little kind of text descriptions in the comic for Civil War. We have like the white text on the screen telling us on the panel, telling us where the locations are. It's kind of that's okay.
It's unique. I'll definitely give it that. It's like they were trying to do something different than just kind of like the green text scroll, like, oh, Washington, D.C., this such and such many hours.
It's a movie with a giant man. I think we can forgive him for a little text.
It'd be great if in the credits somewhere they had like the giant letters and then Giant Man comes and just smashes the giant letters.
Or just like Paul Rudd just says, "Oh, I lost this." There we go.
Okay, but let's get.
Or like
let's
in
get
the credit sequence, it says, you know, Ant-Man, and it's really tiny, and then Paul Rudd. And then underneath that, like 5 font sizes larger, Giant Man, Paul Rudd.
Hell yeah.
Just in the middle.
Yeah, anyway, let's see. So the big showdown here is really cool. So we have the Winter Soldier, Tony, and Captain kind of have like a little truce going on, so they can get to the culprit who actually shot T'Challa's father. And cause all sorts of destruction. I mean, you guys remember the Winter Soldier did snap, he did kill a bunch of people, but, you know, that's when he was stabbed. This is the guy responsible for that. They're going after this guy. Sure. Finally on the same page, things are going great. Okay, it's going to be a happy ending. Wrong. So they go in there and they're presented, they find Zemo there, and Zemo just, again, confidently behind some unbreakable glass. He's telling them, oh, listen, basically shows them the video footage that we've seen before. Now we see it in its full horrifying glory.
Oh yeah.
Again, by the way, I just love how practical that is when he just punches the car and then the car skews off, hits a tree. It's so great. It's a great stunt. Anyway, so we then see it in its full horrific glory. We cut back to the actual event between the footage and then the event of Tony Stark witnessing in horror his parents getting brutally murdered in front of him. Well, not on screen. So he sees Howard Stark, and we like Howard Stark. He's John Slater. He's the older Howard Stark. We like this guy. He's getting out of there. He's on the ground. And we see him. Has his face and his neck snapped by being punched brutally. Oh god. His father's beaten to death, and his mother, all screaming because it's so horrifying, is strangled.
Mm-hmm.
By the human hand too, of the Winter Soldier. That's even more cruel. It's like not even with the robot hand.
What's Tony Stark's mother's name?
Maria. It's not Sarah. It's not Sarah.
I'm really glad that Maria and I'm really like I said, I'm really glad that Captain America's mother's name wasn't Maria, or else this whole fight would have been over a lot more quickly.
It's Sarah Rogers and Maria Stark. No similarities there.
Because apparently all you need to do is stop a hero fight is have mothers with the same first name.
But then again, I think both their middle names were Joan.
Oh dear, are you serious?
No, I'm not serious.
Oh god.
Wait, what's your mother's middle name? Joan. What's the
Batman vs. Superman, the sequel, folks. Oh god. Oh Jesus Christ. Okay, we need to get this back on track. So, yes. By far my favorite moment with Tony Stark in this whole movie is he killed my mom. That just those 4 words. He says those 4 words. He killed my mom with such passion, such conviction. Other people have stated, it makes so much more of an impact that he doesn't say he killed my parents. He doesn't say he killed my dad. He specifically says he killed my mom.
Now, let me tell you what I love most about this reveal, by the way. And when I was in the theater and still coming out of it, I'm still amazed by it, I'm still in love with. Because, again, I told you, Winter Soldier is one of my favorite movies. I love that we knew this going into this movie, and then they brought it back. They brought that little it was like a little Easter egg in Winter Soldier that Hydra killed Tony's parents. Captain America knew this, and they bring this up in the scene that he knew about his parents. That he didn't know was Winter Soldier, which we saw. He just got a quick glimpse of Hydra being behind the Stark's car crash.
Right.
And again, now they kind of said, well, did you know? I didn't know it was him. And then, then apparently the reveal of Bucky, he remembers all these kills, and he's been holding that secret against Tony with despair and pain, as did Steve in the letter. He mentions, I didn't want to cause you any pain knowing Hydra was behind your parents' murder.
Sure.
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, that's the great reveal that has, like, the minute I saw the minute the car crashes on the screen, like, oh my god, he's responsible for the car crash that was in Winter Soldier. Oh no! And it makes all the sense in the world because they saw, like, the shots suggesting that the Winter Soldier killed Kennedy and all that stuff. There was a shot in Winter Soldier that suggests he killed Kennedy. I'm not sure about that.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Okay. And so just going quickly through the fight, just some of the highlights. My god, they do a lot with symbolism here. Just the symbolism of Cap's shield, the symbolism of Tony's heart. They're really playing with that kind of stuff. I think one of the more powerful moments in the movie is just Cap using the shield to rip out Tony's heart. I mean, my god.
Yeah.
My god.
Then rip out his heart, crush his heart. I mean, Bucky's trying to rip out his heart.
Right. And how perfect is it? How perfect is it? You couldn't have ended this movie with Captain America walking away with the shield. No. Captain America needed to lay down that shield, and he did, and it was perfect.
That was such a chilling moment when Tony Stark said, "That's not your shield, that my father built you that shield."
Oh man!
You haven't earned. You don't earn that shield. They
stopped pulling punches at that point. I think that. As soon as they got to that fight, it was just like, I'm not going to be nice. I'm going to dig all of those deep wounds and the scars that have healed. I'm going to rip them right open.
Well, you remember way early on in the movie, they had that line of, like, I knew your father. Yeah, that's like the first time I ever heard it right there. You knew you.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that with tension that we've been talking about through these Marvel movies of, Howard Stark kind of had this hero worship thing going on with Captain America. We saw it in Agent Carter. We saw the whole, like, I have him, Peg, I'm bringing him home, that whole thing. It's like Howard Stark had such an admiration for Steve Rogers, and he had such a disappointment for how Tony Stark came out when Tony Stark was, when he was alive. So, yeah, it's definitely, like, there's definitely some... I'm sorry, I'm just kind of rambling. It's
kind of interesting that Howard Stark's responsible for his own death when you think about it.
In a way, yeah.
Because he developed Captain America, and that what Winter Soldier was stealing in that scene to kill him was more Winter Soldier super serum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else with the final fight, or can we get on to the ending?
I have one last important thing that I need to add.
Go ahead. Nice.
I've been waiting for that.
By the way, whose side are we all on? By the way,
by the end of the movie,
I was going to say in general because now he's just bringing this up. Like, oh my god, we never went over this. Who's on whose side?
I'm
honestly still on Tony's side.
I'm on Cap. I'm still on Cap.
I'm Team Black Widow.
That's the only correct choice.
She's the logician here, man. They're both wrong.
We could be Team Black Panther.
Oh yeah. Always, but I think
we could be Team Spidey, and then America would love us.
I think Black Widow makes the right decision. Just being
always been on.
You're wrong. You're also wrong. Suck it. I'm out. Yeah.
Okay, so can we go through the ending?
This real powerful shot. The last shot is fantastic. Just like him walking with the shield on the ground, the Iron Man helmet all crushed and everything. Okay, that's a great shot. Anyway, last scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the ending very, very Empire Strikes Back like. I mean, this whole movie is very much like Marvel intended it to be the Empire Strikes Back of the MCU, I think.
Yeah, it's not exactly everyone like drinking tea together, having a good time.
No, Howard Hamlin. I apologize, Jacob. Our Howard Hamlin in-joke is getting out of hand. But,
That's okay.
Well, I think Bucky would appreciate. Oh wait, no, sorry.
Oh God. Ooh. Okay, but seriously, I really love the note with Cap. I love that Cap's at least trying to end things on good terms with Tony. Whether or not it works is still kind of up in the air.
He sent him a physical letter. Nobody sends letters anymore. That's so wonderful that he did that.
And he sends it through Stan Lee. How classy is that?
Yes.
Are you Tony Stank?
Do you think? I don't think Captain America intentionally wrote Stank on there. I think it's just him misreading. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, I know. I agree with you. Yeah.
Because that would be so cruel if it was like, after all that stuff, I stopped. By the way, again, through that whole sequence, we're rooting for
the most immature, grade school nonsense.
Hey, you took my shield. You took my.
Ant-Man. If it was Ant-Man, he would have written Tony Stank.
You took my
absolutely.
medal. You took my medal
I think
frisbee.
Ant-Man has a middle school level of sense of humor, which isn't a bad thing. It's just you know.
You took my metal frisbee. I'm
gonna
send you Tony Stank. And your mother was killed by my best friend. Ha ha.
But how great is that final shot where Tony and Falcon are kind of looking at each other or I'm sorry, not Tony, Steve and Falcon, and it's just like, okay, this is where we are. Like, Steve is basically a fugitive now. Like, that's some heavy stuff, man. They have not done a cliffhanger like this in the MCU so far, where it's, I have a hard time thinking how the MCU is not going to get affected by this on a grand scale. Like, Black Panther, we're clearly going to be seeing some repercussions. I think Spider-Man Homecoming, we're going to see Spidey kind of, my prediction, not to get too far into Homecoming, is that I do think that Spidey is going to kind of realize that he was on the wrong side of the fight during the airport scene. Long-term ramifications are going to blow through this thing like a wildfire. Jacob, your thoughts on the ending?
I would agree with that. I think, the smart move that they'll probably do is make the rest of the movies isolated, where the heroes have kind of we converged, and now we're going to separate and figure our own individual things out.
Right.
Because we'll probably have, and they'll all have their own little ways to reflect and their own little plot lines, for, going forward from there. And then as things, come to a head again, then we'll push into the Infinity War, and they'll get back together and have more stuff to do on their own. But I do think that there'll probably not be more than, one or two guest characters in any of the other movies until we get to Infinity War.
Okay. So Dragon, thoughts on the ending really quick, and then we'll do final thoughts overall.
Sure, but real quick, because we glazed over it. Black Panther stopping Zemo's suicide was awesome.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
But also, it's with the conflict, it's bridging into it again. It's so powerful that again, it's the whole conflict of the movie boiled down to that sequence where it's Bucky's the innocent here, but again, he did kill Tony's parents, and that's something you just can't let fly in the moment. Iron Man is trying to kill Bucky in that scene. Some people say he's trying to bring him in. No, screw that. He's trying to kill Bucky in that scene.
Oh, I am 100% with you. Yeah.
Anyway, so the last sequence, it's going to sound silly, but one of my concerns in that scene, I knew I was hoping it was going to get resolved. It was on the edge of my seat for some silly reason. I knew they had to do it, because otherwise you don't get Ant-Man 2. I was so, I hope Ant-Man gets out of prison. Poor old Ant-Man gets out of prison.
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but I love Ant-Man. I hate him.
Ant-Man of all people couldn't get out of prison.
Well, remember, he never broke out of prison, but he doesn't have the shrinking tech on him.
Well, that's true. He doesn't have the shrinking tech on him. Fair point.
Anyway, so
okay.
My point is,
Wasp could come get him.
Good point. That'd be even better. But still, oh, by the way, a fun fact, real quick before I forget about it. Deadpool almost did the raft before this movie. In a deleted scene, Ajax, and in the original script, and they shot this, and I got the DVD recently, so I got to see it. Ajax was getting back from prison. His prison was the raft, which this place is. This place is the actual raft. So somehow, and it was a weird nexus how they were able to almost use that. I don't know what it was, but
Right.
the same model prison. It was like a little thing slipped through the cracks of the whole contractual agreement thing, perhaps. Anyway,
Okay, guys.
So Deadpool reference.
Yeah.
I love the.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, just,
No, I just.
you're right.
Do you have
though,
anything else about the final fight?
Yeah, no, not about the final fight, about the ending.
The ending. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, so again, I do love it though. Just that we're in a place where they're not at each other's throats anymore. They're still far away from being the best of friends. You know, you see, he left that letter. Just Cap saying, "Look, you need me. Leave some burner phone. You need me. I'm going to be there for you." And it's Cap doesn't look to me. Again, being the adult here, saying, "Look, things got heated. We both did wrong things. Just I'm here to do the right thing, because it's what I'm going to do. I'm here for you, and I do hope you'll forgive me for what I've done, and vice versa." And just the Captain America saying, "But I can't leave anyone behind." So you see, he's going to prison. He's putting Ross on hold. Tony Stark is still putting a little bit of levity in the midst of all this drama. And again, you're right, G. That final shot is that triumphant Captain America is still a fugitive, though. He's still walking up the Falcon. One of his best friends. He hasn't forgotten about him. He's saving everyone. But then I want to talk about the post-credit scene, if I can.
Very, very quickly.
Again, just the last thing I want to mention, it ends on such a great note. I know I touched on it beforehand, but what's so sad to me is that Captain America, he saved his friend, and he goes through all of this, but his friend still, he can't enjoy having his friend with him. He has to be put under the ice. And again, how traumatic is it for Captain America seeing someone put under ice, of all people?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he's in good hands because he's in Wakanda, and we see, there's this, they'll try to, they might come for him if they find out he's here. They'll try. And we see the Black Panther statue. Awesome. Point is, it's a really good ending. They ended on just the right note. Because again, I was going this movie, I was really wondering how are they possibly going to end it in a way that's still not getting flack? Like, oh, this person won, or no, that person won.
Yeah, that was definitely curious for us, for sure.
They found the perfect middle ground of an ending. It's a good note to end it on. Perfect.
Okay. So very, very quick, we'll go round table. Final thoughts. Jacob, what do you got?
Yeah, to kind of come back to where I was at the beginning, I think it was a solid movie overall. I wish that, Cap and Bucky's arc had been, more continuous. It had more of a finite ending. I kind of wish the same for Tony, but I understand that why they made the choices that they did for this particular movie. One last little note, I feel like this movie is the first of many that's suffering a little bit from the Deadpool effect. We had 3 shits and a fuck in this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, do we have an F-bomb in this movie?
Yep, Tony drops it in the middle of the airport fight.
Was it like a silent one, or did he actually say
it? It was fairly low because there's lots of fighting happening, but it was in there.
I didn't hear it.
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I get why studios are doing that because they feel like the floodgates are open, but Deadpool is not for kids. That's fine. That's okay. That's the way Deadpool should be. Captain America should be for kids too. That should be something that a kid can find accessible. And to me, I feel like that's him saying language in Age of Ultron is appropriate because yes, Tony's a little bit more reckless and Cap's a little bit more old-fashioned. That's cool. That's a cool little interaction, but I feel like they're slipping more away from that. And if you market the movies, exclusively at adults, then the next generation's not going to care that much about comics. Right, I feel like Captain America is one of the heroes that should definitely be accessible. So I understand why they made the decision, but I wish they had filtered those out.
Okay.
So yeah, overall, great movie, great fight scenes. A little less shaky cam would have been nice. There were a few scenes where it's like, I can't see what's happening. That.
Yeah, I'm with you. We don't have time to go over that now, but Dragon, final thoughts?
Again, I think this was an excellent kind of follow-up to Winter Soldier. I think if you look at the Cap trilogy, the first movie, they're both very distinct and very different, but they're all kind of Cap, kind of getting out in the world in different ways, and it's kind of upping the game each time, and it's like, kind of taking down a thing he knew was a lie in the second one. The third one's just kind of, it's a huge game changer for him. Mm-hmm. Again, I think this movie is a lot of fun. It has great moments. It was just really, again, to me, it's the best movie. It's probably the best movie of this year, the best comic book movie of this year. Believe me, Deadpool is still my favorite, but I think this one is better, by comparison. like technically better, because again, I think it's great. I'm still not sure where I rank it in the Marvel thing. I've been through that before, but again, this movie is really good. It hit on the emotional things I was hoping. I love all the little bits there. Again, it had fantastic action, the hallway fight scenes, all sorts of action. Every action sequence you could picture was in this movie. It was great.
Right.
Point is, a lot of fun. It was everything I hoped it was going to be, as I said earlier. But again, it boiled down to a conflict. It ended in ways I didn't expect it to, and that's a good feeling to go into a movie with and adapt to the story a lot better, as I was hoping it would with Civil War. So, I mean, it was all around for me. It was a great experience, and I was very happy with it.
Yeah, it's funny. Dragon and I, we kind of have opposite opinions about how it stacks up against Deadpool. Like, there's definitely a clear distinction between favorite and best. In my opinion, I actually kind of enjoy this movie a little bit more than Deadpool, just because I feel like it just delivered on so many things me as a comic fan wanted to see, like a really good Spider-Man, the Giant Man stuff, Tony versus Cap, all that good stuff.
This feels like it had more replay value than Deadpool does. Like, part of the joy of Deadpool is, like, that first time watching it and getting, some of those, like, really, really dark or, like, outlandish jokes.
I've watched Deadpool 6 times so far, so it's probably not the best example.
Well, but I mean, like, they don't hit as hard when you know what's coming, I feel.
No, they don't. They really don't. When you get to the calendar montage,
it's not a good movie. But yeah.
When you get to the calendar montage, you're just waiting at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You're just, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, we have a sequence like that in this movie. It's in the R-rated cut that's coming out a few months from now. It's gonna be half an hour longer. Then we're gonna see another character. We're gonna see actually Michael Pena has a role in the movie, but it's in the extended. It's in the R-rated extended cut, which is weird.
All right. But what I'm getting at with Deadpool is, like, I think the reason why I think Deadpool is probably technically, in my opinion, the better movie is just that, it's just completely unconventional, and they did a lot of cool things with it, the fourth wall breaking and all that good stuff. They played around with the structure of it. They played around with the flow of the story and the acts and everything. Whereas Civil War, I've already made my point. I've kind of gone blue on the point, making the point, but it's an episode of a TV show, and it's a very, very good, well-produced episode of a TV show, but really Civil War is not going to have a lot of value in terms of, like, people who are just jumping into the MCU, who haven't seen any of these other movies, who don't have a connection to any of these characters. Whereas I feel like Deadpool kind of has a better approach of kind of like just being a standalone movie that anyone could just sort of jump into, and they kind of like the whole movie of Deadpool is explaining who Deadpool is. But at any rate, because we're going on long, I like the movie a lot. It's a tough competition between this and Deadpool for best superhero movie of the year. My favorite movie of the year is still probably Zootopia, but this is really good. It's definitely like Guardians of the Galaxy is my favorite MCU movie just because it's so personal to me. This might be number 2. It might be number 2. So, all right, Jacob, I'll give you one more shot if you want to plug your Hot Chocolate Media really quick.
Sure, yeah. Anybody who hasn't had a chance yet should definitely check out hotchocolatemedia.net. We've got 2 active podcasts right now, as well as several shows that are available for anybody to watch at any time they like, free on the internet for your enjoyment. And we will absolutely have more stuff down the road. What form that has yet to take, we shall see. But you can always check in. You can always interact with us online. We like to be, accessible content creators. So feel free to check it out if you haven't already.
All right, Jacob, and thanks so much for your time, man. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. We couldn't have done this without you, and in as good of a way to break down this movie. So you are an invaluable asset whenever we can have you. So good luck in your endeavors.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, good luck in your endeavors. I will continue to plug Hot Chocolate Media as much as I can, and I will see you in the future. And to all of you, all I have to say is go out and see this movie. It's much better than Batman vs. Superman. Lois, I have a complex. I'm in love with you, Lois. And if anything happens to you, Lois, then I'm going to kill everyone.
Does anyone have any
I'm
orange
the
slices?
hero, Lois. I'm the hero.